Tyler Dover faces a parent's worst nightmare when his 6-year-old daughter, Anna, and her friend go missing. The only lead is an old motorhome that has been parked on their street. The head of the investigation, Detective Loki, arrests the driver, but a lack of evidence forces Loki to release his only suspect. Dover, knowing that his daughter's life is at stake, decides that he has no choice but to take matters into his own hands. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 2013's Prisoners, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another feature presentation episode of Midnight Double Feature. We are back here for a new century of episodes. This is our first episode back after the big 100. Colin, I fucked that up, didn't I? First feature presentation episode after the big 100. How you doing, Colin?
I am doing well. How are you doing, buddy?
I am good, dude. I am good. I've just watched this depressing ass movie, but I am good. I am in some high spirits, man. I'm keeping it alive. But yeah, man, let's look, today, as you guys heard, we're talking about Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners. I'm going to suck this movie off. I don't know about you, Colin. I'm really keen to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. But before we get into it, guys, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. This, like I said, is our feature presentation episode. And this is an episode where we're going to go through the movie Prisoners, and we're just going to cover it sequentially. We're going to be talking spoilers. We're going to be talking some I guess heavier insights into this movie. This one's pretty dark, so let's see how we go with that.
Yeah, not a lot of wiggle room for jokes in this one, you know.
No. Oh, dude, don't worry. I've got some loaded up in here. Don't worry, I got some.
Dude,
jokes,
I sit back and I'm like, what can I make fun of? You know, I'm like, what can I make fun of in this movie? And I'm like, you know what? You're giving me nothing, Denis Villeneuve. You're giving me nothing here to make fun of. I'm like, cool. We got beaten fucking mentally challenged people and kids going missing and Jesus Christ. I got nothing, dude. Nothing.
You're not giving any material, Denis. You're not giving me any material.
I feel like Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2. He's like, come on, talk to me. You're like a fucking Sphinx. Give me something.
For sure. But guys, you can follow us on our socials. We're on Facebook, which is at Midnight Double Feature. Midnight Double Feature, which is our main page. And then we're on the After Party as well. So the After Party is our Facebook group where where people can interact with us and where we post memes and news and all sorts of good fun. That's pretty awesome. So that's the After Party, 2 words. And then we're also on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and we're also on Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. And also, guys, please, if you can, jump onto iTunes and give us a rate and review. We'd definitely love to see what we're doing wrong and what we're doing right. But, if you want to suck our dicks, that's fine. But we'd love to know where we're going wrong as well. So just to be the best show that we can be, I guess. But yeah, look, without any further ado, that gets all the boring housekeeping shit out of the way. Colin, give me your thoughts on Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners.
Alrighty. Where to begin? Man, this movie, I don't know what to tell you, Zoheb. I don't know what to tell you.
Son of a bitch.
No, it's great. It's a great movie. I liked it quite a bit. I am trying to think of the right way to say this. I'm ignorant to Denis Villeneuve. I really am. I haven't seen Sicario. I haven't seen the only other movie of his that I've seen are like Blade Runner.
Let me find the where's the hang up button?
I've really only seen Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. Those are the only ones that I saw. And of course, Blade Runner 2049, fucking incredible. I loved it. It gave me all the faith in the world. I saw Arrival. I really wasn't too high on it. It's a decently good movie. I didn't just fall in love with it. I don't think Arrival is one of the best sci-fi movies of the last 2 decades. You know, that's all I hear people talk about is how he's just, look, Blade Runner be so good. Look at Arrival. Oh my God. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, Arrival's okay. It's not that great. Like, calm the fuck down. But I do think Denis Villeneuve has this great, almost called him Dilly Villeneuve. I think he's got this great knack for interwoven storytelling. He's good at mixing plots and subplots and characters and wants and desires and needs and just intertwining them. He's like a fucking 1920s switchboard operator. You know, this guy is over here just swapping chords left and right and plugging you into different stuff. And he's great at and this is something that I heard said of Christopher Nolan, and I think is also true of Denis Villeneuve, that he doesn't really get a lot of credit for, is that he shows you stuff up close and it tells you the mystery of the movie right away. But because you don't really have all the clues and out of context, it doesn't really mean anything. That once you finally see, you're like, oh my God, okay, fuck, that's incredible. You know, Christopher Nolan does that a lot, and I think that it's the same for Villeneuve. He just doesn't really get the credit for it. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I think that Villeneuve is every bit as good of a director as Christopher Nolan. I just don't think he gets the credit for it. I see a lot of comparisons between the two of them. But I like the movie a lot. Cast, I mean, fucking talk about the fucking cast, dude. I mean, Jesus Christ, you've got Wolverine and Mysterio trying to find War Machine's children, you know. But no, I mean, the cast is just incredible. I love Maria Bello. I love Viola Davis, Paul Dano, obviously Jackman, Gyllenhaal, Terrence Howard, a lot of great people. And I think that I think this is an exceptionally good movie. The only complaint that I really have about it is a tad bit too long, honestly.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just the elephant in the room. It does drag on for a while. I mean, we're looking at something that's 2:33, 2 hours 33 minutes long. You know, you cut out for credits, you're looking at maybe 2:25. And I feel like a lot of people have that complaint about his movies, especially with Blade Runner. Yeah. Which I didn't mind that with Blade Runner because I was already used to that universe. I didn't really care. But all in all, I really, really enjoyed this. I think that the mix of morality, the mix of religious themes, the mix of God's laws, man's law, your faith, there's so much of a mix that he does so well that, I mean, you can sit here and have a 2-hour-long podcast about this, and you won't even scratch the fucking surface of what this movie is about. There's so much stuff. I mean, even in the title alone, Prisoners, there's so much stuff that can be taken away from that. Everybody in this movie is a prisoner, physically, psychologically, emotionally. Everybody is in their own way. Some of their own doing, some of the actions of others, and I just think that's incredible. That's the hallmark of a good script. And that's one thing. We always start the show, and I mean, credit where credit is due. Obviously, we've got Roger Deakins doing cinematography. We've got see, I did it again, dude. Dilly Villeneuve.
Dilly Dally.
But also Aaron Guzikowski, I think is
Guzikowski.
Yeah. I mean, what a fucking mind you would have to write this goddamn thing. So I definitely want to give credit where credit is due right there, because I fancy myself as a very amateur, almost more of a hobby kind of screenwriter, and I never give credit to the screenwriters on this show. So, I was like, I need to start doing that. I need to, kind of put my money where my mouth is kind of thing. So, I think this is a great movie. I think it's a tad bit too long. I do love the themes that it juggles. The acting is incredible. I don't have any problem with any of these performances. Fucking incredible performances. Fucking great pace. Great anticipation. I bite my nails enough as it is. I literally bit my nail until I actually drew a little bit of blood today. And I was like, I was sitting there watching it, just fucking biting, and I looked down and I was like, fuck, dude, there's like a little dribble of blood. I was like, fuck, I gotta stop biting my nails because I bite them enough as it is. That I was like biting them literally down to the fucking wick. I am not a vocal movie watcher. I don't talk to the television. You're not one of those people, oh, come on, don't go in there, dude. Don't. I was doing that in this movie. I could not fucking help it. Everybody is
yeah, that's another thing. This is the first time you've seen this movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy part is I bought this, oh, God, probably a year ago in a $5 bin somewhere, and it's just been sitting on my shelf. Literally took it out of the plastic to watch it today. And Lindsay and I are watching this. We're getting ready for some Easter stuff. She's having to leave earlier than I am. And she goes, she showers, she comes running out with a towel on her hair all wet. She's like, what happened? Did they find him? What's going on? And like running back and forth, you know, has like a different article of clothing on every time, has her makeup on, and just brings her makeup into the living room, just puts her makeup on while she's watching the movie. I was like, holy shit. But all in all, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think this is definitely underrated, and it makes me more excited to see, I think Enemy is another Denis Villeneuve with Jake Gyllenhaal, so I look forward to seeing that, you know, and I'll check out Sicario obviously at some point, but it makes me excited for his other movies as well, now that I've got more of his films under my belt.
Yeah, man, Denis Villeneuve. I've been wanting to talk about this director for a very long time. It's just I didn't really know when to start or which movie to start with. And honestly, you talked about Arrival. You're being a bit disappointed with Arrival. I do think that Arrival is outstanding, dude. I love Arrival. I actually think, okay, look, I haven't seen Enemy. It's probably the only English language Denis Villeneuve movie that I haven't seen. But I think out of all of the movies that he's made, this might be the weakest. And that's honestly, that I'm not taking anything away from it, because this movie is fucking outstanding. This director is just someone who I think gets better and better as he goes. He's just this guy who just kind of came out of nowhere, man. I watched this in 2013, and my friend like sent me the trailer, and I was like, holy shit, this is giving off some like David Fincher, Seven, Gone Girl, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo kind of vibes, like, you know what I mean? Like it's got that look to it, it's got that feel. And man, it just like I sat there in 2013 and I watched it and I was just like, man, this is kind of mind blowing. Like I love movies like this, murder mystery movies like this that kind of executed very well with amazing performances. Because the movie that this reminds me of most closely, even though this is fictional and that's not, Zodiac.
It's drenched in Nightcrawler and Zodiac.
Yeah, and maybe that's down to Jake Gyllenhaal, by the way, who's always welcome on this podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, no, dude, on IMDb, when you go to movies you might like, if you're looking at this one, literally the top two are Zodiac and Nightcrawler.
Right, exactly, man. Like it's just got that. I love films like this that just have that massively. You know, even though this is like shot in the day a lot, like it's still got that noir-esque sort of feeling to it. It's still got that darkness, that whole like, you know, the world is fucking ending. You know, this is what we have to do this, and oh man, it's just incredible. I love it. But yeah, man, Denis, you mentioned Chris Nolan. And I talked about this on Upcoming Attractions episode. I think, man, Denis is slowly eclipsing Christopher Nolan for me. He is fast becoming one of my favorite directors. I cannot wait for Dune. I actually went out and bought the Dune book, the novel, to read it before the movie next year, because the cast for that is stacked.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like it shows how much faith a studio has in a director like Denis Villeneuve. Because, I mean, look, Blade Runner 2049, massive budget, didn't do amazingly. Didn't do amazingly, but they give him Dune with this massive cast, and it's going to have a massive budget, and they know that he'll be able to execute it very well, but probably not do as well financially as well.
Well,
so it's just like...
Just to jump in, I will say, because I looked that up, Blade Runner didn't do well domestically. Internationally, it pulled $100 million over budget. So, you know, I mean, yes, and that's the story with so many good movies. Don't do well here. I'm really interested to see what Hellboy does internationally. I really am. I know America is like, ooh, that's the big moneymaker. But, dude, if you do well enough in other countries, I'm really curious to see what that's going to do. But I think Denis Villeneuve is not... I don't know. His movies are not on the forefront of an American audience, and except for stuff like Sicario and stuff like that. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth because I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but of what I've seen, you have to have a patience that I feel like a lot of American cinema goers don't have right now. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying a lot of them don't have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Like, man, and Sicario, like I'm sure most of our listeners know, my favorite movie of all time. I fucking adore that movie. And I do agree that I think Denis sometimes has an issue with runtimes. I think this movie, more than Blade Runner, is kind of a little bit more grating, because Blade Runner is so massive in scope, whereas this is a bit smaller. You can kind of, but here's the thing: I don't know what you would cut out. Like the scenes,
Dude, yeah.
the way he builds the scenes and the way he builds tension, if you cut those scenes shorter, then it's just like it's kind of ruined.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's like, how do you edit this down to a fine nub when you've created such an amazing tension building sort of film? And Sicario, dude, is only 2 hours. Like that movie just flies by. It's fantastic. But going back to this movie, man, fucking amazing. We talked about Hugh Jackman on the Prestige podcast. This, along with that movie and probably Logan, are probably the 3 best career movies he's ever done. This movie, dude, he is fucking outstanding. Man, I saw Hugh Jackman in this and I was just like, holy shit, you can act, dude. Like, I always knew you were a big commodity. Like, I always knew you can do like blockbuster and shit, but I didn't know that you could like act, if that makes sense.
Right. I do. I want to throw in something real quick that this movie really reminds me of, and I think we might have talked about this. It's called The Vanishing. Have you ever heard of this? There's a foreign version of this in '88, and then a '93 American remake with Kiefer Sutherland and Jeff Bridges. Have you ever heard about this at all?
I think you mentioned it. But maybe I fell asleep because you were talking. But anyway, tell me.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, the Vanishing. It's about a guy. He and his girlfriend stop at a rest stop. She doesn't come back to the car. 3 years later, he still doesn't know what happens to her, and her supposed abductor meets him, and you know, he's like, I abducted your girlfriend. And that's Jeff Bridges. Kiefer Sutherland proceeds to beat this guy to fucking hell and back. I mean, dude, it's like a 10-minute long fucking just letting him beat the shit out of him. It's awesome to watch. And he's like, why shouldn't I kill you right now? And all Jeff Bridges says, he's like, because if you kill me right now, you'll never know what happened to her. That's it. That's all he needs. And there are a lot of similarities between these. He, even to the point of Jeff Bridges gives him something to drink that drugs him so he can experience what they experienced. And I was like, oh, okay, I can see an influence from that on this movie. I really can, because the original version of this movie is I believe it's I can't pronounce.
It's a short called The Telltale Heart.
Right, yeah. It's Traceless or Without a Trace. It's from 1988. It's I believe a French film, or I'm sorry, I might be wrong.
Sorry, I'm fucking up. The short was inspired by The Telltale Heart, by Edgar Allan Poe.
Right, this one is based off of The Golden Egg by Tim Crabe, I think. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it. But either way, I can just see an influence from that on this. And I highly suggest, I haven't seen the original, but I did love the Kiefer Sutherland remake. It was really good. If you like this, go check that out. Definitely.
Badass, man. But yeah, fucking Jake Gyllenhaal too. Like the character choices that he made for this as well, we'll get into. But he's just awesome. Like I think that he is one of the most underrated actors out there, even though he's pretty like up there. Like he's pretty rated highly. So I love the choices that he makes. He's very Ryan Gosling-esque. Ryan Gosling just makes these decisions where it's just like, I'm going to pick this movie because it's got a great script, it's got a great performance, like it requires a great performance from me, but it's not that massive of a movie. Probably Blade Runner is the other one for that, but that's pretty big. So, but yeah, man, did you know, by the way, who was supposed to direct this movie?
I read Bryan Singer.
Yeah, Bryan Singer and Antoine Fuqua, who did Training Day.
Thank God Bryan Singer didn't get it, honestly. I mean, all personal shit aside, I just don't want to get into that. But his film style is not really... I've never seen him do anything like this, to be completely honest, except for Usual Suspects. But that's, I mean, it's been ages since he's done anything like that, you know?
Right. And even still, like, there's no... Like The Usual Suspects doesn't really have a style like this. Like this requires a sort of a much more steadier hand, if that makes sense. Like that's probably only 2 words that I could use to describe this film. Christian Bale and Leo DiCaprio were supposed to act in this, which is kind of interesting. I don't think. I mean, look, as awesome as they are, I don't think they could do this. Like, I just think.
I think Bale could. I think Bale definitely could, but not. I don't know. DiCaprio maybe. I think Bale is that other level of actor. I really do. I put Bale right up there with Gyllenhaal and Gosling. I really do. I think Christian Bale, as method as he gets and crazy into some shit, I definitely think he could tear some ass in this movie. You know?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I can see that now. Yeah, I mean, like, but. Yeah, he's got that kind of like stress level fucking midnight shit, you know? Yeah.
Right, yeah. Level midnight. You fucking office nerd. Oh, and by the way, as I'm watching this, why was Hugh Jackman not ever in talks to play Mad Max and Fury Road? Come on, dude. I mean, dude, he grew out the beard and he's like, you know, he's talking about when the grocery stores, the gas stations dry up, and I was like, man, I just got Mad Max flashes in my head. I was like, you would have been great. You would have been fucking awesome, dude. I mean,
no offense, would have been great.
No offense to Tom Hardy. I'm just saying. I mean, James Bond should be a British dude. Mad Max should be an Australian. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, Wolverine's gonna play Mad Max. Like, I can see like the backlash, all that bullshit. But yeah, man. So also, apparently, the person that we have to thank for this movie is Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I saw it. Thank God. Hey, I'm fucking looking for my daughter. All right. I mean, Jesus Christ. Can't you hear? I mean, just fucking listening to my voice, you can see my brow getting furrowed. I mean, for fuck's sakes. I gotta get my brother Donnie from whatever fucking shitty ass cop show he's on to come help me find my fucking daughter.
It's such a good vibration.
Have you ever seen?
Sweet sensation.
Have you ever seen his movie Fear?
No.
Oh, check that. Let me in the fucking house, dude. You got to see that. That is a great movie, actually.
I bet you guys, when you started listening to the Prisoners podcast, you didn't think you were going to get good vibrations.
Yeah, no. They all thought we were just going to be in here like, just be like super somber and just like a big dark echoey chamber.
Every 30 seconds we say we want to kill ourselves because it's so depressing.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I was watching this. I was like, I got to take a fucking shower. Jesus Christ. I got to go hug my dog.
Also, one more thing before we head on to... Sorry, two more things before we head on to it. Like you said, Roger Deakins, dude, fucking awesome. This guy just knows how to film. This guy knows how to photograph a film. Like, it's just... There's no way around it, man. This guy is one of the best people working out there in the industry, just hands down. I'm talking directors, writers, cinematographers, fucking composers. Out of everyone, he's definitely up there. And this, of course, was his, I guess, 100th nomination for an Oscar and didn't win it.
Yeah. What did he finally win on? Was it Blade Runner?
Yeah, Blade Runner. So Denis won him that one as well, which is fantastic.
I mean, dude, you got a guy, Skyfall, Sicario, No Country, Fargo, Shawshank, Prisoners, True Grit. It's like, dude, come on, man. Get the fuck out of here.
I know, man. The guy's just all talent, you know? And he just, like, you can immediately tell when you're watching a Roger Deakins film. Like, you can immediately just tell. Mm-hmm. And there's also another guy that I want to talk about as well, just quickly. I'm going to butcher his name. He's the composer for the film, Johan Johansson. He is a badass. Probably not mostly in this movie, but he did Sicario and Arrival. Dude, the scores for those two movies are outstanding. But unfortunately, he died very recently. He died last year in Feb, which is very sad.
That sucks.
Yeah. I man, it sucks because like Sicario and Arrival is so recent, and I just wish that, you know, he was around for a bit longer so he could just put out some more fucking awesome shit, man. But yeah, dude, that's all I got to say. My opening thoughts. This is a fucking outstanding movie. I'm really keen to get into this. This is a 2.5 hour big bitch. So let's fucking dive right into this. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. So we open in the forest with the Lord's Prayer, this hunting sequence. Foreboding as shit, dude. I love the zoom back to reveal the rifle. Like, what a way to kind of like open this scene. It's like first showing this like calm deer, like, you know, you got tranquil nature, and then you zoom out to reveal that, oh, well, not all is well. And the deer gets nailed. We meet Keller Dover and his son Ralph, played by Dylan Minnette. Do you remember what I said about this guy in the Let Me In podcast?
Oh, is he the fucking bully kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no! I mean, they should have given him a little bit more to do in this because I think what he does fine with. But he's just, I mean, he's not. He's a supporting character. I get it. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more out of him. You know, the effects of this on him as well, especially the other family's counterpart, their daughter, the older daughter. I can't remember her name.
Right. Yeah.
Joy's older sister. But you just didn't see.
I've got it later. Yeah.
You just didn't see anything out of the two of them. That kind of bummed me out. I wanted to see a little bit more of that. You know, it adds more to the stakes of, okay, I've got a kid that's missing. Meanwhile, my other kid is just about to have a fucking panic attack and die. You know, holy shit. Like, I would have liked to seen a little bit more than that, but it didn't ruin anything for me.
Okay, so you want to make this a 3-hour movie?
Yeah. Man, this movie runs too long, but they didn't do enough of this. You fucking prick.
So I talked about Dylan Minnette on the fucking Let Me In podcast. This guy just has such a punchable face. I hate his face. I just want to break it. Like, he's in 13 Reasons Why, and all he does is like sulk, and I was like, fuck off, dude. But Keller tells Ralph that he has to be ready. All that stands between you and the dead is you. And we follow this RV for a little while. We don't know its importance yet. But the Dover family heads up the street to the Birch residence. And dude, I love Viola Davis. This woman can act. Have you seen Widows?
No, I have not.
Oh, dude, she's so good in Widows, man. Like, she's also won an Oscar. I believe it was for Fences, the movie with Denzel Washington. I might be mistaken.
Oh, that's really good. I have seen that.
Yeah. Oh, is it really good? I haven't seen it, but I heard it's good.
It's a good play too. Lindsay is an English teacher and teaches it. So she's got the play and the movie here, and yeah, it's great.
Badass. I might check it out because I don't know why I missed it. I was just like, oh, it's another Oscar movie. See how we go, but missed it. And dude, how much does he kick himself now?
Dude, I read an article about him in Rolling Stone, you know, how he fundamentally disagrees that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, and he sits around all day making these geometric patterns out of these, you know, these random geometric patterns, and he's like, this will be the future of mathematics. People just don't know it yet. And I'm like, dude,
what?
Dude, I'm not making this up. Like, and the crazy part is he's got this girlfriend or wife or whatever. And at the time in the interview, she's like, oh, yeah, he's such a genius, blah, blah, blah. And the interviewer was like, what about all this stuff about these domestic assaults, you know, that have been going on, you know, recently? And she's like, oh, no, those were just fights and it's all over now and blah, blah, blah. They're like, you know, after the interview, we went and checked and she has a file for divorce, like, as we were doing the interview. So, like, they're already divorced, like, right after the interview happened. So, I don't know, man. Just a terrible loss. He is a good actor, man. I like him in Hustle and Flow. I actually like that movie. I didn't think he was bad in the first Iron Man, but he just fucking let that head go to him, man. I saw him in Crash. I didn't mind him in Crash. I thought he was good. But dude, what a fucking waste. What a fucking waste, man.
Yeah, I love him in everything that I say, but it sucks because like he just. Well, regarding the Marvel stuff, right? Like, he just wanted too much money, I guess, right? And he just,
dude, he came in there with some balls. Big dick energy, dude. Talking about how he single-handedly brought back RDJ, and if it wasn't for RDJ, he wouldn't have a fucking career and blah blah. And I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man.
Get out of here, dude. Get out of here with that shit. And now we're on the brink of like fucking Avengers Endgame. He must be just kicking himself so much.
Oh yeah.
But hey, at least he's got the show Empire on TV,
God.
which, by the way, is getting some great press with Jussie Smollett.
Mm-hmm. Dumbass.
Fantastic. But their daughter Anna wants to take Joy back to the Dover house. Oh shit! Actually, no, I just jumped ahead. The kids come across the aforementioned RV. I love how Anna just starts climbing on it. It's just that childlike nature, that curiosity.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
so adorable,
that's something I would totally done as a kid. Absolutely.
Same. After hearing music coming from the RV, they're curious, but only slightly. They just leave it. By the way, man, these shots, these like first-person shots from inside the RV, they just remind me so much of Zodiac. They're just so ominous, and it's just like, you know something's off. You know something's wrong. Like, I love it. I love it so much.
Well, and it mirrors the shot of after the killing of the deer. We see out the back window, and there's the deer in the back of the pickup truck, and we're
Right,
looking
right.
through a rainy window. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like when the deer is shot, we're zooming out, and then we see the rifle. But right about the time that the kids are taken, we're just zooming in on the front house with that shot of the tree, and it's so a zoom in versus a zoom out of kind of a similar thing, the prey being taken through the trees. I was like, damn, that's fucking cool. I am not, hey, by the way, not smart enough to figure most of this out on my own. I did a lot of research, okay? So you guys fuck off. I'm not that smart, okay?
I'm so glad you did some research because I'm like, this is a good movie.
Oh, no, for sure. Dude, the symbolism behind it is just, I mean, you can go on for days.
Oh, dude, like the maze shit, yeah, fucking wild. Anna wants to take Joy back to the Dover house so she can help Anna find her red whistle. And man, I just wrote here, these kids are so damn adorable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is the little scene where we get the Batman smells Robin laid an egg. Like, love it, dude. And this is where we get that shot of the tree looking onto the birch house as Franklin plays the trumpet. It just gives off that horror movie vibes, dude. Like, it's just such an innocuous shot, but it's just one of those things that's just so good at establishing tone.
Yes, I was thinking that, watch this, when is Villeneuve going to give us a horror movie? That's one of the first things I thought. Is like, come on, man, this guy could easily do something like Get Out 100 times better. I really do. I think he could just come in and fucking crush the game if he wanted to. I mean, this is not a horror, but it's pretty close. It's pretty goddamn close. It's as close as you're going to get without going into like any kind of supernatural metaphysical bullshit,
Right. And I haven't seen Enemy. I know Enemy's got a few horror stuff in it, but I don't fully know. I can't really judge that yet. But yeah, man, if Denis makes a horror movie, then I'm just gonna not sleep for days. Like, that's gonna keep me up. I know it will. Keller and Grace ask the older siblings about their sisters, dismissing their absence, saying that they're probably at their house. But when Keller gets back to their place, they're nowhere to be found. Cue alarm bells. Alarm! Indiana Jones. I don't know why I just wrote that.
This gave me a very first season of Stranger Things feel. Like, it really did. It gave me a very where is Will Byers? The whole neighborhood's chipping in. We've got two close families that live very close to each other. Two different, we've got older siblings on both sides. I was like, okay, this is kind of giving me a bit of a Stranger Things feel, which obviously Stranger Things came out way after this. But I was like, hey, man, this is giving me some hardcore Stranger Things vibes. And honestly, just because I've been rewatching the first season lately.
Me too.
Do what?
Me too. I've been watching it again.
No, yeah, for sure. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And this, even though this movie is present day, it doesn't feel present day. This does not feel like a 2013 film. Like, this feels like, if you'd have told me, oh, this film is set in 1992, I'd have been like, I believe you. Like, everybody's cell phones, nobody really pops out like an iPhone. Nobody's like on a fucking, Apple computer. You see a couple people on laptops and stuff, but nothing really crazy, And in fact, I think the neighborhoods they're kind of doing a lot of this in are like poorer neighborhoods. I think a lot of stuff is of lower quality, kind of hand-me-down Goodwill kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But dude, like, this is the first kind of movie that I watched where it kind of like, because I've seen like movies about like child abduction before and stuff, and like this is the first time I did remember sitting in the cinema and thinking like, holy shit, man, what a pants shitting moment if you're a parent. Like, what a ball dropping moment, No,
dude, I don't have any kids. Don't plan on it. As we were talking before on air, my brother actually had a baby last weekend, and so did my oldest nephew. So now I'm a great uncle at 28. I've got a sibling who's like 10 years older than me, so it's obviously going to happen. But I couldn't imagine if somebody took one of their kids, or somebody took my nephew Abel, who he's born in 2010. So yeah, he'll be he'll be 9 this year. If something, I mean, dude, I might pull a Hugh Jackman. My siblings' kids are, for all intents and purposes, Mike, I am responsible for them if a parent isn't around. And it's like, dude, do you take my fucking nephew or my niece or something? I'll do worse than what Hugh Jackman did. Fuck you, dude. Like that. Man. We'll get to it. Dude. I got a lot to say about this shit.
No, dude, trust me. Like, anytime on screen or in real life you hear some insidious shit or heinous shit going on against children, just expect a totally visceral response from me. Like, it's just a loss of innocence, dude, and like, it's just, I can't deal.
Dude, this is a case file episode in the making. Like I could hear this guy narrating this shit, and like the twists and the turns and the what the fuckeries. I can totally see it.
Totally, dude. There are some wild child abduction cases on that podcast.
Mhm.
By the way, guys, go listen to it, Case File. We plug them all the time, but they don't need plugging. They're massive. They actually just finished up, just quickly, Colin, while we're here.
Yeah, they did. I was listening to it today. It's fucking great. What is
Ivan
that?
Milat, yeah. He was notorious, dude. He in my state, he buried like all these bodies and shit. Like, it was crazy.
Whew.
Wild, dude. Wild. But let's get back to this shit. From one depressing thing to another.
Yeah, right.
Ralph suggests the RV and he leads the dads to it, but when they get there, it's gone and Keller calls the cops. Cut to meeting Detective Loki, played by the always awesome Jake Gyllenhaal. And like I said, always welcome on this podcast, dude. Love this guy. And let's talk Gyllenhaal while we're here. So apparently the blinking wasn't originally in the script. It was something that he added in. I got a quote here. I remember meeting Denis at a diner in New York before we shot the movie, and I said, I think the character has some physical tick or attribute. And I could see his reaction as he started to roll his eyes. Directors have a sense of terror when you suggest something like that.
Dude, it does. It's a little much at times, but it honestly got to me a little bit. One of my favorite teachers was a Vietnam vet. He was a Navy SEAL. Told us a lot of stories about killing people, like shit we should not have heard in high school. He was a really upfront, honest guy. It was Rob Hosier. He's one of the best teachers I've ever had in my life. And he would do that wink in both eyes. And finally, somebody said, I don't mean to be rude, but is that a war injury? He said, well, yeah, I had a grenade go off point blank in my face. And he said they were able to get most of the shrapnel out, but most of it. I was like, damn, dude. Like, so I'm looking at Loki thinking this is a war injury. This is something, he's very into his work. He's a troubled character himself. I could see this being something maybe post-traumatic or maybe an actual physical thing, not just like a nervous tick, but something that's like something you honestly can't help, something that's physically or emotionally or mentally kind of triggered.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he do it more and more often as the movie goes along? Like, as he starts to get more and more stressed out?
I notice it more when he's interrogating people. I notice it more when it comes down to stressful situations. It could be even something like, how people will flare their nostrils or they clench their teeth, like that kind of thing. I could see it like that, something that's stress-induced.
I just think Jake Gyllenhaal should get an Oscar soon. Like, this guy just puts in the work, dude. I love him. So Loki pulls up to the RV along with some other uniformed officers and they approach the RV. Dude, I love this shot of like Paul Dano in the shadows, just kind of like it's his back. Like, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking, thank God this guy isn't black. They'd have fucking shot him so fucking fast, dude. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Come on.
Fucking totally, dude. Widows, check it out. Trust me, there is a sequence that you just reminded me of.
Well, I mean, the guy's driving around in a fucking tank, man, like spinning that shit around in a parking lot. Like, I mean, they don't even go for his tires. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you would have plugged this motherfucker. Get okay. Just come on.
Oh, dude, they would have had their fucking assault rifles out and shit, ready to go. Yeah. But yeah, he crashes the RV into the trees to apprehend Alex Jones. And the lighting in this sequence, dude, is fucking outstanding. Look, I'm going to pepper just little compliments for Roger Deakins here and there throughout, so don't mind me. Alex doesn't respond to Loki's questions about the girls. I love how aggressive Loki is. Like, he's not the cliche, cool, calm, and collected officer who usually shows up in movies like this. Like, he's efficient, but he's quiet and introspective as well, like we just saw in the diner scene. Like, he's got that level of aggression by him as well, right from the start. I dig it.
I also, Alex Jones. Really? Alex Jones? They're fucking putting penicillin in the pudding on our shelves. There's goddamn fucking chemtrails in the air. They're eating children and they're shitting out dogs. I don't know what the fuck to say to you, Joe Rogan.
Oh my god, dude, he was on Joe Rogan very recently. I shut it off.
Phew.
I shut it off.
I did, dude.
I can't listen to this.
Holy fuck! What a fucking whack job, dude. As soon as it said Alex Jones, I was like, I don't feel so bad for this dude. I don't really feel so bad. Like, what if they'd have pulled him out of the car and it was Alex Jones? Like, I didn't do anything to those fucking kids. Like,
chemtrails, I'm being set up. I'm being targeted here. Yeah.
Sandy Hook is fake.
He's a fucking motherfucker. He's got some balls, dude.
I know.
But anyway, back in the interrogation room, Loki questions Jones. I love how he's just got him up in the corner.
Oh, like, dude, about to put the moves on.
Right.
Man.
What a like an invasion of like privacy though. Like what an awesome interrogation tactic. And this is something that comes up in Sicario as well. Like there's a scene where I'm not gonna spoil it, but Benicio's like all up in someone's business, like interrogating him like this. It's awesome. Meanwhile, we get random shots of the RV being logged into evidence and forensics going over it. And Jones tells Loki that he usually parks his RV at his aunt's house in the backyard. And dude, I love this movie because it's like we don't really waste time. Like I said, there's not much that we can cut here because the next sequence is Loki already over at the aunt's place. Like, you know what I mean? There's no fuckery. There's no wasting time. So yeah, he's here at this Aunt Holly's place. How familiar are you with Melissa Leo?
Her name doesn't ring a bell, but I'm sure I've seen her in something somewhere, you know.
Dude, she's awesome. I recommend checking out The Fighter with Christian Bale, Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, she's their mom.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Okay, I love The Fighter, dude. Love it.
Dude. She's a boss. She won an Oscar for that.
She's great, dude. She's great. She actually, side note, in The Fighter, the car she drives is the first car I ever owned. Is a 1990 Dodge Dynasty.
Oh, that's badass.
No, it's not, dude. It's a piece of shit. I had a 1990 Dodge Dynasty in like 2008. Okay.
But dude, she's in so much shit. Like, let me just go through like the last like couple of years. And look, they're not all great. But London Has Fallen, The Big Short, The Equalizer, Prisoners, Lee Daniels, The Butler, Oblivion, Olympus Has Fallen, Red State, so Kevin Smith's Red State, The Fighter, and like, come on, dude! Like, she's putting work out there, you know.
But she's Broad City, you know, Wayward Pines. She's in a bunch of shit, man. Yeah,
she's in a lot of TV as well. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so where are we? Okay, so. She tells Loki that Alex has never been in trouble in his life, and Alex's real parents died in a car accident when he was 6.
Mm-hmm. And her husband walked out after an argument or something, right? What'd she say, like 5 years ago, her husband walked out after an argument or something?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's all clues here. This is very much like very much like Jordan Peele's Us or Get Out. Like, all the kind of puzzles are given to you right at the beginning, and you kind of have to sort of like start sorting them out by the end. It's great. I love that kind of storytelling.
Well, that and what later on when they're in Hugh Jackman's apartment building, and he's like, "Why didn't you tell me you had this place?" He's like, "I didn't think it was important." Jake Gyllenhaal says everything is important, and it's like, dude, if there is a underlying message in this movie about how to watch it, that is it.
Totally. You can't watch this movie nonchalantly.
Right.
Forensics tells Loki they didn't find anything, no fibers, and they suggest he look in the woods by the rest stop. But we find out that half the cops in the state are already doing that, which we get a look in on with Keller joining them. Loki goes to talk to the Birches and the Dovers. Grace wants to know if they passed the polygraph. She's in denial, not fully believing that they're gone, saying that people will think they're crazy when they come back, which is honestly fair enough. But like for her mother, fair enough if she's thinking that. I'm 100% on board with her being in this denial state, like at the beginning, you know, like it's just
for sure
pretty natural.
There is something that I saw that was interesting when you look at Hugh Jackman. I mean, obviously he's a carpenter. The religious themes in this, he's a carpenter. His mother's name is Mary. We see in a paper later. His wife's name is Grace. Like, come on, dude.
I didn't put any of this in.
I didn't either. Again, research. Like, I had to hit the books, dude. I couldn't catch most of this stuff.
Well, it's pretty fitting we're covering this on Easter then.
Yeah, right, for sure. And also when you're looking, he wears a lot of flannel. There's a couple of scenes later on where if you're looking at what Terrence Howard is wearing, it's almost a very maze-like Argyle sweater. The couch patterns in their living room are very like intrinsically kind of woven, very maze-like. But him wearing the flannel, just the straight lines across, that's just like the order mixed in with the disorder. I thought that was actually kind of interesting. Just the fact that he's always wearing these like straight lines and versus like he's surrounded by stuff that mixes and turns and goes different ways and stuff. I thought that was an interesting kind of dynamic or juxtaposition or whatever, fucking six syllable word you want to put on it.
Yeah, so this guy kidnaps these kids and they stab him, and that's it. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, right.
Man, I love it, dude. Like, this is why I love doing the podcast, because I love talking to you about this shit, because it's just like I know I'm going to pick up some stuff as well after the end of the conversation, which is great. Fucking awesome, dude. But yeah, we also find out that Loki has a 100% clearance rate, so he's kind of the best of the best.
Very important at the end of the movie.
Important.
Very important.
Very important. Dover tells Loki about Ralph witnessing Alex watching them, but Loki shuts that shit down, saying they haven't found any evidence in the RV at his aunt's place, and that Jones has the IQ of a 10-year-old. But Dover's not having it, is he? Questions why he would run, when he was being arrested. Loki goes kind of goes on the defensive here, right? We're considering all possibilities.
Oh yeah, especially Keller. I mean, no, just shut the fuck up for a second. I'm like, dude, damn, that is fucking. Yeah. I could see somebody making an argument that this is borderline like overacting. At first, it kind of threw me off. I was like, and then I went back and I watched that scene, and I'm like, what do I know? I've never lost a fucking kid. Like, come on, dude. Like, you have no idea how you're going to act in that situation. And I totally get it. You've got a guy right there who, is at the scene. You've got, him running away from them. I think it's easy to pin the blame on him. But it gets a little bit trickier. Everything's not. Keller is a black and white morality mixed in with all the gray. And he doesn't really know what to do with that. He is truth and justice. He is the sword and shield, but it's not that easy. It's not, it's not kill or be killed in this situation all the time. There are so many different avenues to go down. And I think that ultimately ends up being his downfall a little bit.
Right. Well, he's blinded by emotion, right? He's giving all these facts, hey man, this guy couldn't have done it. He's got an IQ of a 10-year-old. Plus it was 2 girls. But he's just not having any of it. It kind of reminds me of what happens all the time with people when they watch the news. It happens with my mom and my dad. I hate it. I hate it so much because I tell them all the time. I'm like, hey, this guy that the police have arrested that you're watching this news report of, that's not the full story. You're being told that this guy got arrested for this, but I guarantee you there is evidence that'll come out during the court trial or before the court trial of this guy that won't be reported on, that you're not going to hear about. And do not judge them based on just this news report. You know what I mean? It's just kind of the prejudgment kind of shit.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Jackman is outstanding here. After he just yells at him, I had to go to the bathroom to pee. But yeah, as Loki goes to leave, Dover flags him down and asks him to charge Jones so they can keep him in custody. 2 little girls have got to be worth whatever little rule you got to break to keep that asshole in custody. Number one, It's not a little rule. Holding someone innocent against their will, depriving them of their liberty is kind of a big deal, Dover. And number 2, dude, Keller's kind of already made up his mind about Jones, just kind of immediately.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're like you said, he's so blinded by emotion. At the same time, I think when you're, I agree with Keller. I think that I think that bust him for vagrancy. He's sitting there parked on the side of the road. He says he's just sitting on the side of the road.
Sure.
It's like, bust him for vagrancy. Buy them some time. Just buy them some time. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're not breaking the law. You're doing right by some people who, this guy is your number one suspect for all intents and purposes. Buy them a little bit of time. I do agree with that. There is a compromise there that I think that could have happened. And unfortunately, and Jake Gyllenhaal wants that. This is something that he does want. This is not something that ends up being his call later on. I love that conversation he has with his chief. Not to jump too far ahead, but
we're here. We're here.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, and I think that's just a great kind of again, all of this is when you look at Keller. Keller is a man who doesn't mind bending the rules because to him, fuck man's law, it's God's law. I mean, we see crosses everywhere. We see him reciting the prayer. Again, he's a carpenter. Mom's married. Wife is Grace. Obviously, we've got a lot of Christian symbolism coming behind him. And yes, sure, you can argue in the Bible it says that man's law is God's law. That is something that you're supposed to obey. But I mean, I don't even believe in that, dude, at all. I mean, I'm not a religious person by any means. Even if I were, I would not believe in that. It's like, dude, there's how many people slip through the loopholes and shit, that is not true. It's just not. I will argue that any day with somebody. Like, those are not intrinsically the same thing. So I think that when you've got someone like Keller who's willing to bend that, I understand his reasons why, but because of Loki's steadfastness, he ends up kind of being the one to crack this case. But if it weren't for Keller doing what he does, those opportunities would not be open to Loki. They need each other to solve this thing. If he doesn't kidnap Alex, then Loki never goes at the end to go talk to Miss Jones. That stuff never happens. They kind of in and outside of the law end up opening up doors for each other. I think it's very interesting to note that.
So what do you think Denise kind of saying here? Because if they have a symbiotic relationship, if they need each other to kind of solve the case, and each of them is working off their own sort of set of values and morals, then is it kind of like sometimes we need to go beyond the law to get justice?
I don't know if it's necessarily that simple because ultimately Loki doesn't pay any price for what he does. He is, he for all intents and purposes, I'm struggling to find a flaw with Loki other than the fact that he gets very personally wrapped up in this towards the end, rightfully so. But then you look at someone like Keller and Keller's flaws, like you said, he's blinded by emotion. He jumps to conclusions. He's assuming things, but at the same time, you can understand that. He's got a kid missing. It's been 6 days, and you've got a guy who has said the shit that he has said and has been, at the scene and all this other stuff. I mean, fuck, man. Can you blame the guy?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think what they're trying to say is that I think that you have to operate within the confines of the law to an extent. But it's the same thing that Gyllenhaal kind of does. It's funny, here where you have Gyllenhaal and Zodiac doing the exact opposite of that. He's not inside the law. He's going to people and he's being fed information that could, in Zodiac could have gotten all these men fired, could have ruined their careers. But they know they need him to get this done. They need an outside person who doesn't need search warrants, who doesn't have a, quote unquote budget for manpower. You need somebody like that. So I think when it comes down to it is if you want to kill absolute evil, you have to come at it absolutely. You're going to have to come at it there. Like I just said, there's going to be some kind of compromise. You have to go inside and outside of the law to get this done because ultimately you go outside the law, what Hugh Jackman does, you're going to pay the price. We really never see the consequences of that. But if you stay inside the law this whole time, nothing ever gets done. Like I think it's kind of a mixed bag. I think ultimately they leave it up for the viewer to decide, what he's doing, is it right? And if not, it's so many things. Okay, well, no, what he's doing isn't right. Well, if he doesn't do it, this doesn't happen. Okay, well, what he's doing is right, but he did this, and it fucked a lot of shit up. Kind of a little bit of black and white. That's what I'm saying. Nothing is black and white in this, and I think that's a very valid thing to point out is the fact that they need each other. You need lawlessness and law. I read something about this possibly being a Western at some point. You've got the sheriff and you've got the outlaw, and they need each other because ultimately their goals are the same. So, I mean, maybe what they're doing and their methods aren't the same and they're questionable, but their goal is the same. And I think that's way more important, honestly.
Yeah, I get you. Dude, 102 episodes of podcasting, and this is already my favorite conversation. By the way, just quickly, look, we'll get to it. I don't know if I fully agree with you that Loki isn't punished for what he does by the end.
No?
Yeah, because Alex Jones dies. And I feel like that weighs very heavily on him.
Wait. What?
Yeah.
Wait, when does Alex Jones die?
So right at the end when Keller goes and pretty much goes ham on Alex, doesn't he die?
I don't think so, dude. Because at the end, remember they're reading the paper, and it's like that.
Oh, really? Did I miss something?
It says because Alex. Okay, let's break it down real quick. The woman that Loki goes to visit, she's wearing the tape out of her son who's missing. That's Alex Jones. He's Barry something. And at the end of the movie, there's a paper, and it says Barry so and so reunited with family after 26 years or something like that.
Oh, fuck, that's true. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
This is your fucking pick. Jesus.
Well, you know
Working with a couple of fucking amateurs.
Well, here it is. Like I said, having internet issues. didn't get to finish the movie until like 5 minutes before the podcast. So. Oh, Jesus Christ. But all right, let's get back into this bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, dude, Loki's here talking to his captain, trying to get permission to hold Jones for one more day, but the captain's not having it. This captain, by the way, is played by Robert Duvall's cousin, Wayne Duvall. Just a little...
He's a fucking giant prick.
Yeah. But the captain does make a good point, dude. You find his daughter, he'll forgive you. If you don't, he's going to hate you anyway.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's valid. I mean, you don't want to hear it, but it's true.
Checks out. Loki goes to investigate 9 level 3 sex offenders, and we get this bit of a montage here. But so lo and behold, surprise, surprise, Loki rocks up to a church to speak to a priest who's on the list because, of course. Oh, jeez. He busts in to see him face down, but the old fucker's just passed out. And Loki finds a secret creek basement where he comes across a corpse tied to a chair.
Ooh, some serious Zodiac vibes, man.
Dude, yes, thank you. So fucking wild.
I also... Has Loki been... Has he been molested as a child? Because he says, he's like, I went to so-and-so school.
Yep.
I'm totally, yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one picking that up because...
I don't know about molested, but I think he's definitely been around this kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, maybe not a first-hand victim of it, but definitely a witness for sure.
Right, because he says, because he goes back and grabs the priest and he's like, I spent 6 years in the Huntington boys' home. Hurting an old fuck like you would be a treat for me.
Right, yeah, and that's another thing. Loki is definitely a troubled character. You know, what kind of detective has all those tattoos like that? I'm not judging people that have tattoos. I don't really care. But that's not the first image that comes to your mind when you think of a top-notch police detective, you know?
Right. Those were actually also Gyllenhaal's idea.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. You look at the shit on his knuckles. You see what that spells out? If you look at it, it looks like maze. When you look at it, he has that shot where his hand's behind his head. And you see the tattoos across his knuckles. If you look at it, it looks very similar to M-A-Z-E.
Badass. Maybe it's just M-A-I-Z-E. Different kind of maze. Maybe it's just, no, fuck it. I'm abandoning this line of joking. Fuck it. Fuck it. It's gone.
Abort.
It's gone. Abort mission. But yeah, so Dover grabs Alex. Oh, hold on. The priest says at the game, what? Oh, okay, hold on. Fucking hell. The priest says that he came to him for a confession, bragging about killing 16 children. Wild, dude. I love this shot. Okay, because, look, we've all seen the movie. So this is the husband, right? So this is the husband that's going to confess to the priest. And 16 children, dude. Like, that's nothing to scoff about. I love this shot of the police searching the river, dude. It's kind of like this helicopter shot that just comes under the bridge. I guess it's a boat, but it's awesome.
Great shot.
And you know, them searching the river. Keller gets word that Jones is being released. I love the look on Loki's face. I'll be seeing you again, kind of look.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
As Jones kind of signs out. But Dover grabs Alex, doesn't he? Very intriguingly, Alex says they didn't cry until I left them.
What the fuck?
Dude. And let's talk about Paul Dano here. Fucking awesome.
Why has he never played Dahmer?
Oh!
Come on, dude.
Good pull, man.
Come on,
Good
man.
pull.
If there's something I want to get really good at this podcast, it's nailing down casting that should have happened. And Paul Dano should have played Dahmer. He's a great actor. I mean, he does everything from, we got Looper, we've got this, we've got Little Miss Sunshine, we've got
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, there's so much great shit that he's such a versatile actor. And I read that he's actually drawn to these kind of characters, people that have just very eccentric, erratic like kind of characters. Some with like borderline disabilities and stuff. And I think he's perfectly suited for that. And I mean, dude, Hugh Jackman, after he says they didn't cry until I left them, I straight thought he was about to just whip out the claws and start ripping these cops in half, dude. And just fucking the beginning scene of Logan, just cutting people's arms off and shit. Like, I would have, like, I don't know if you could fucking pull me off that dude. Like,
Did you see how many people it took to restrain him?
Dude, yeah. I mean, for one thing, he's fucking jacked, Oh,
yeah. Huge jacked man.
Yeah, huge jacked man. But seriously, dude, I mean, his reaction is fucking palpable. It is so real. And that is such, I mean, everything about it, his veracity and him like being ripped back and him, screaming at them is so fucking good.
So I didn't confirm this, unfortunately, because that's not what we do on the podcast. We don't confirm shit. We just say shit. But apparently Paul Dano is attracted to these kind of roles because he kind of draws on some stuff from his past. That's what I read.
I didn't know what that was about, but okay, to each his own. That's his personal life.
Yeah.
But I am curious.
Yeah. So Loki follows up with Jones. Because Dover tells Loki about the what Alex says, and Loki follows this up with Holly, and she's with Alex, and Holly is quickly to jump in for Jones, right? She just like immediately starts to like defend him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's something, right? So did you guess from the start that it was Holly? Like that Holly had something to do with it?
Oh God, no. I think that's also something. I think in a lot of true crime stories, I think it's easy to get kind of. I mean, I don't like to throw this word around a lot. I think it's easy to get kind of sexist with stuff. I think it's very easy to say that these horrible murders must be caused by somebody who is a predator, and it's little girls. So, I mean, historically, the type of person that would kidnap two little girls in broad daylight, usually there is. As much as I hate to say this, there usually is some kind of like sexual thing going on, and they're just typically not women. And I'm not saying that the stories that I've heard, it is typically not women. I'm not saying that that's 100% of everything, but she is so unassuming. But that's the problem. She's unassuming because you are unassuming as a viewer. You are like, oh, that's not her. She's just this sweet old lady. What does she have to do with it? And I think it's just, it also has a little bit to do with she's got this sweet old lady kind of vibe. She seems like she might go out back every once in a while, light up an old joint she's had rolled and just kind of kick back and, collect her Social Security. And that's about it. She doesn't seem like she's any more complicated than that. And it's just really as the story goes on, because they kind of put her on the back burner until later into the movie.
Ages.
So, yeah. So it's super surprising when it pops up. So no, I did not see this coming at all.
I did.
For real?
Yeah. I sat there with my mate in 2013, and look, I don't like doing this with movies where it's just like, oh, that's the killer. Like, I'm not really. I want to be like drawn into it. I don't want to be like guessing and shit. And a lot of people do go to movies like this and guess, like play that game. But I'm just like, no, I'm not having it.
Right.
I think I kind of got it because of like how much focus they were putting on Paul Dano's character as Alex Jones, and then it's just kind of like, who's the next closest that could be responsible for this? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like it's just the way the movie set things up with Alex Jones, and then it's like, all right, well, they're kind of like already kind of explaining away how Alex Jones couldn't have done this with his IQ and things like that. But then you kind of like, the next logical question is to ask who would be controlling Jones. And
right. Well, I think also, when you look at somebody, because I mean, she does a bit of defending, but a lot of the defense is coming from Loki. A lot of the defense is coming. We don't have physical evidence. He has the IQ of a 10-year-old. A lot of this stuff are just facts that are being presented to us from outside of her. I mean, she is there and she's supportive of him, but I didn't know if this was going to be one of those type things where, oh fuck, what was that case file episode we were just talking about? Ivan
Milat. Malangolo.
Yeah. His mom was the same way, very protective, very dismissive, very defensive of everything that came his way. So it's like that could just be it. I mean, her husband left, his parents are dead. He is all that she's got. I could see her being defensive, and it makes sense. It didn't really throw me any guards up. I just thought, here's this lady that, if he's gone, who's going to help take care of her when she starts getting older and older and older? And even that later on is a fear of hers, actually, that she talks about, of being lonely. So I definitely, it just occurred to me that she just didn't want to be lonely. That was about it,
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really consider that when I watched it for the first time as a 20-year-old. I didn't really think about her. Well, yeah, I didn't really think about her future or anything like that. I just thought, hey, like the difference between Loki defending Jones and her defending Jones is that Loki presents evidence, whereas she does not.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But Loki contacts Dover and tells him that they're not going to waste any more time on Jones. Fucking A, when Dover hangs up on Loki.
Yeah.
Love that reaction. And Grace is in full meltdown mode, dude. She's on medication. And I guess like these are kind of like the little prods that make Dover do what he does. You made me feel so safe. You told us you could protect us from everything. God damn.
Ooh, that is
Heavy.
rough, man. That is really fucking rough. Like even Lindsay, she was like, "Oh, fuck you." She's like, I mean, like the guy literally did everything that like he's a doomsday, a gas mask, lie, food, guns, ammo. How can nobody's expecting that their fucking kid's gonna get taken, But they do it so well that she's such a sympathetic character. She's not really. I don't think she's really meaning what she's saying. But at the same time, she's still saying it. You kind of have to give, forgive my trespasses and those who trespass against us. You have to kind of give her a little wiggle room because, again, I don't know her situation. I've never been in that situation before. So, you gotta give her some slack.
Right, exactly. But it's also like cutting the balls off the patriarch of the family. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
for sure.
You told us you could protect us from everything. But yeah. Dover takes off and drives to Jones' place where he stakes it out until Jones comes outside with his dog. This shit is fucked up.
Hold on, real quick. Just real quick before we go into there. When he gets into the truck to leave, this guy, the former is a reason why we should I just missed it. It's a Bible verse and it's very, very telling.
Here we go, guys. Here's Colin doing some research for once.
The former is a reason why we should be very patient. The latter why we should be very penitent. He reminds him that trouble and affliction are what we have all reason to expect in this world. Man is brought into trouble not as man, but as a sinful man who was in transgression. Man born in sin and therefore born to trouble. Man, that's there. I mean, dude, there's just so much to unpack right there. You could spend 2 hours just talking about that Bible verse. I don't know where that's from. But I mean, just man born into sin, that you're supposed to be patient. You have this penitence. There's so much there to unpack, that I honestly didn't want to go past it. I don't want to sit there and, talk about that the whole time. But I thought that was a really interesting, a really interesting little thing because, it's kind of like, it almost seems like his like inner thoughts, like deep down what he should be doing. Penitence, the action of feeling or showing sorrow and regret for having done wrong. Repentance, basically. So you're supposed to be patient. You're supposed to know, exactly what you're doing is wrong, kind of thing. And he's just ignoring all of it. I just didn't want to go past that,
Fucking hefty, dude. Hefty. But yeah, dog choke.
Dude, fuck him, man. Dude, after all that, I don't feel fucking bad at all. I don't feel bad one bit for what he fucking does to this kid, locking him up and beating the shit out of him. Like, I mean, okay, and this is maybe a good time. How in control is quote unquote Alex?
Right. That's the point of the sequence, I think, right? Like you're supposed to question whether he's, and look, for lack of a better term, retarded. Like,
for sure.
You're supposed to question if this is his lack of social. I don't know. Like his sense of right and wrong. If it's fucked up mentally, if it's fucked up cognitively, if he's just not in control, and I think that's what this sequence aims to do, and it definitely brings up some red flags, and that's kind of like what goes, what I guess makes Dover pull the trigger on this kidnapping thing, right?
Well, that, yeah, him singing the Batbib, jingle,
yeah.
all that stuff, but also at the same time, just putting together what I know of this character, of him, he is able to drive. He's not dumb. He's not. I know they say he has the IQ of a 10-year-old. I don't buy that. I don't buy that he has maybe he's not a fully functioning adult who knows, like, what you're talking about, morality, right and wrong, that kind of thing. But I don't even know if I believe that. I think that I think that deep down he has some sense of what he's doing is right, between right and wrong. Now, I'm not gonna lie though, he is. I'm led to believe that he is being repeatedly drugged as an adult. Like he is, like, even into adulthood, he is being given this. What do they say? LSD and ketamine.
Yeah,
kind
like a
of
cocktail.
Thing.
Yeah.
Quick side note, and if you're not comfortable answering this, I understand. Have you ever taken LSD?
No.
Okay, well, I have.
Badass.
I've done it only a handful of times. It's been a long time since I've done it. I took a very small dose and just about freaked the fuck out the very last time I did it. Not anything crazy. It was just some really, really good shit. I'm just not a big fan of it. I could not imagine what it is like to drink that shit and then stay in a fucking dark maze. Dude, trust me. You would lose your goddamn mind. Like I can only imagine, especially with ketamine, that's a fucking horse tranquilizer, So I can only imagine what is going through his head, and I'm trying to sympathize with that. But there's stuff that he's doing that is giving me evidence that, like him choking the dog, him being able to drive, he tries to run. It's the fact that he does know where they are. He knows where they are. It's like, dude, and at no point does he offer up that information. Like, you can say that he's battered enough to a point that he just can't give up that information, or that he's so broken. But like when Viola Davis lets him go out from under the sink and he tries to escape, dude, that is a cognitive awareness of your situation. I'm sorry. That's just, dude, that's where I draw the fucking line. I'm like, he tries to defend himself. He is quick. He's not dumb, dude. He goes for the window, and we can't get out the window. He makes a weapon out of it. Dude, that is very fucking quick thinking. Like, and I don't necessarily buy that he is just this, simpleton, kind of. I just don't fucking buy it. I think that there's way more to him than meets the eye. And I'm not saying that, he is a victim too. I'm not saying that he is a perpetrator, but I'm just saying that there are things in this that, there are things that he could have done somewhere along the way, to help this. I don't want to like victim blame him and stuff, oh God, I don't want to victim blame a fucking fictional character. But at the same time, there is some stuff that tilts me in the way of like, dude, that this is wrong. Like this, this is why you wait until you go out at night when it's dark and no one can see you to choke this fucking dog out. 'Cause it's wrong. And I'm like, if that's wrong, that taking these kids is fucking wrong. And I was like, that's fucked up, man. That honestly, like, just bothers me. Like, is he that fucked up? Is he really not? Like, what the hell's going on with him,
Well, like that kind of plays into the whole thing where it's like Holly and her husband, their mission is to create demons out of these little kids, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense,
not out of the kids, but the parents, she says later on, like turning people like Hugh Jackman into monsters through the grief, I think is what she says. I'm not disagreeing with you that what happens to Paul Dano and these other kids is kind of a side after effect, Yeah. I don't disagree with that, though.
Yeah. I don't think we're given, and look, 2.5 hour movie, right? Like, I don't think we're given kind of enough to, like, there are definitely specific moments of Alex Jones kind of being definitely aware of what situation he's in. But then there's also a lot of explanations of what could be affecting his cognition at that point.
Right.
I don't fully know. I guess it is up to interpretation. Like, this is the amazing part of this movie, dude. Like, there's a lot that can be left up to interpretation.
Exactly. Totally.
For sure. So Dover sneaks up on Jones, gun drawn, and asks him about the song, but really, honestly, a shit ton of people know the words to that song, right? Like, I know the words to that song. Like, it could be coincidence. So, the next day, Dover picks up Franklin, who's curious why Dover asks him to bring a change of clothes. Ominous as fuck, by the way. They arrive at Dover's former building, where he reveals the Dano. I just wrote the Dano. Dover's taken the situation into his own hands. I love Franklin's reaction, dude. Terrence Howard is awesome in this movie. Like, make no mistake.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's also like, I like that he's kind of like this mirror image of Dover. Like, even though he's also lost a daughter, he's acting rational. Like, he's saying that they should take Jones to the police. But Dover's just like, fuck the police.
Yeah. At the beginning, I will say he is like that. But as it goes on, you've got the different shades of morality. You've got Hugh Jackman, who has turned, the black shade. You've got Loki, who is the white, and Viola Davis and Terrence Howard start off in the white and move towards the gray. They're right in the middle, dude. I think that's such a great sandwich of the white, gray, and the black, is the fact that they know what's going on. But I mean, it's kind of like Batman. He's saying, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you either. It's like, well, you're kind of compromising there,
Well, yeah, I mean, like, definitely, Colin. Like, if you put it on a spectrum, right? Like, if you had a line and you just had black, white at the end of each thing, and then you just kind of see how, like, each of these characters kind of move about on it, it's fucking fascinating. It's great writing, dude. I love it. I love that I love that how Guzikowski wrote that, like, that there were two daughters taken, and both parents have to react in different ways. It's fantastic.
And I don't want to go past Jackman's line here. He stopped being a person when he took our daughters. And it's totally. Like, dude, I mean, that goes to exactly what you're saying of Dano being turned into this demon,
Right. We heard him until he talks or they're going to die. I know what I heard. I made my choice. He's not a person anymore. Fuck.
Whew.
Also, I have to realize, too, that Dover just nonchalantly brought Franklin in as an accomplice with no care in the world of how that will affect Franklin. Like, dude, like, he's just like, oh, come along, I'll show you this, and now you have to make this dire as fuck choice, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of, man, I think that he ends up being one that's like, whew, that's a hard choice to make, because he just about lets him out later on, and just the fact that he might actually be it is enough for him to stop, and it's fucking so believable, dude.
Totally. Loki visits the mother of a missing boy. This woman's just credited as Mrs. Milland. She's sure that the same person who took her son took him. He went missing 26 years ago, was playing in the front yard just a few feet from an RV. No one took them. Nothing happened. They're just gone.
Yeah, Barry Conyers, I guess.
Yeah,
that's Alex Jones.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I fucked that up.
Dumbass.
No, I just fuck myself. Loki interrogates the father. The father says that the abductor, aka the corpse in the basement, took the kids in broad daylight, sometimes more than one child at a time, and that he said he had a family. Not much information to go on, but again, all the pieces are slowly coming together. Back at Guantanamo Bay, Jones's face looks like hamburger meat.
Oh, dude. Well, one thing, just really quickly with this priest, so I assume he murdered him, right? But we see him tied up into a chair. Does he just leave him there to just starve to death? Because, I mean, the guy's obviously been down there for years. His skin is like black. So it's like, dude, like, what the hell happened? Did you just, like, strangle him, or did you leave him to this chair down in the basement and just kind of say, hey, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to do anything to help you either? Like,
right, but like, that's fucking wild for a priest to do.
Dude, yeah. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, fuck this priest, dude. Fuck him. But at the same time, he saved a lot of kids' lives, to be honest. Yeah. He kind of inadvertently...
Well, so he thought.
Yeah, right, yeah, or so he thought. Like, for being a monster, he actually kind of, we're talking about, we've got a priest, we've got an outlaw, and we've got a cop, and, we've got the majority of these people working outside of their systems of belief. I think that's very interesting. The two guys of religion are moving outside of the system of belief to stop this thing. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't fully understand what happened with the priest and the I'm going to call him the husband because
Hmm.
the Holly's husband. I don't fully understand what happened there. I'm kind of glad that it's left ambiguous. I don't mind. I don't have to
Yeah,
be told everything. Um,
right.
I guess it's kind of like one of those situations where it's like whatever you conjure up in your mind, like it works better. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Hmm.
So I genuinely feel bad for Alex Jones at some parts of this movie, dude. Like, even though, there are things that go against him quite a bit, man, when he looks like this, he's tied up. And, like, Paul Dano's voice acting in this movie is outstanding too, because it's just kind of like that really soft spoken, really, you know what I'm saying?
He says so much without saying anything at all.
Right,
Um,
right.
and I mean, but again, I mean, Keller's not wrong. Maybe in what he's doing. I'm not saying, sitting there beating this guy to a fucking bloody pulp in this like Saw-esque apartment building, is great, but he's like, he knows. I can see it in his fucking eyes that he knows. I'm like, he's right. He does know. He does fucking know. Like, I just don't know if it's because he can't communicate that. Because part of me is like, okay, he's being drugged constantly. That's the problem. Or he's been brainwashed, and that's the problem. It's like, dude, now here is the opportunity for you to, you've been away from this woman how long does you think he has him for? Like 4 or 5 days, something like that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
about 6 days.
right.
Because yeah, like we get a conversation later that confirms that.
Right. So I'm thinking, okay, these drugs are working their way out of their system. I think that that's when he starts to talk a little bit more. But it's like, is he really that damaged that he's not saying anything, or is it the fact that he has now come to love this woman that he thinks is his aunt and he doesn't want to see anything happen to her? Which way does it go? You don't really know, because Paul Dano just does such a great job of making the lines be blurred for you.
Well, here's the thing. We don't 100% know that he's being drugged though constantly. Like
Right.
when he gets arrested by Loki, it's not out of
Well, no, because
it's not too
when they
much to say that they would have done a piss test.
Well, when they pull him out of the RV, one of them is like, "Oh yeah, he's definitely on something." One of the cops says that.
Right.
So I'm assuming. Well, and also, if he's being drugged and shit like that as a kid, he's probably got some kind of substance abuse issues, like as an adult.
Oh
I
yeah.
just couldn't imagine if I were a 10 or 12-year-old kid and somebody fed me a 2 liter of LSD and ketamine. Like, holy shit! Like, you're lucky that kid didn't like kill themselves.
Right. Exactly.
Um, so yeah, I am a little bit more sympathetic. Like, the more and more I think of bad acid trips that I had, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm a little bit more sympathetic for you.
Totally, dude. But I love that like Dover just doesn't understand why Jones won't tell them where they are. But he's determined, and he's determined that Jones knows. And cue hammer time, right? Fucking dude, Jackman is goddamn incredible in this moment.
Oh yeah, just destroying that fucking sink, dude.
Fuck. At the candlelight vigil, Franklin's having a hard time dealing with the guilt of what they've done, or what they're doing. Loki's also at the vigil. He notices a shifty character kind of petting one of the stuffed animals. We find out that later that this is Bob Taylor, played by David Dastmalchian. I knew I was going to fuck up his name, so I looked it up. He's actually pretty cool, man. Like, this actor's been in a bunch of stuff. He was in The Dark Knight. He's in Ant-Man. He's very close with Kevin Smith. I
Yeah.
believe he had a podcast interview with him, which is great. Definitely check
Well,
that
he's
out.
in he's in Bird Box. He's in Blade Runner 2049. I was
Right.
like, dude, can this guy not catch a fucking break on being just the weirdest motherfucker in any movie? I was like, what the fuck, man? I also can't. This is just a little side thing. I had a roommate once. There was a shooting that happened here in Nashville. It was an unarmed, it was an unarmed black male who was shot. And, there was a candlelight vigil for him. And the circumstances of the shooting were kind of up in the air. People didn't know what was going on. And my roommate, good intentions, but she was immediately the type to say that, the cop was racist and that this was fucked up. I'm not
Right.
getting into that conversation, but the thing that cracked me up is she's like, yeah, so like a bunch of us are going to like go to the candlelight visual. And I'm like, it's a vigil.
What?
I was like, it's a candlelight vigil.
Oh,
She's like,
God.
oh, okay, yeah, word. And I was like, just, good vibes and stuff and all that. I was like, get the fuck away from me.
That
I cannot.
gave me cancer.
Dude, I fucking bled out of my asshole for like 2 days. I couldn't stand it. I was like, oh, you are the most insufferable fucking person, dude.
The worst kind of people.
Ugh. Yeah, she didn't even end up going. Stayed up all night doing fucking blow and didn't go. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here,
Every
man.
time I see
Fuck
a candlelight vigil, all I think of now.
Candlelight visual, yeah.
Yeah.
There is actually, like, the way this is actually shot reminds me of, have you seen Gone Girl?
No, I've actually got it here. I haven't watched it.
Oh, dude, check it out. Awesome movie. Very, very similar in terms of tone, but yeah, like that. There's a candlelight visual sequence in that as well. That has a kind of breaks, like, has a pretty big moment. The way that's shot and this is shot just totally reminded me of those two, like of each other. But yeah, Loki chases down Bob Taylor. After he makes a break for it. I love Loki's like, what the fuck? When Taylor drops down onto him from the tree.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he fucking like double whammies him in the face. It's like, holy fuck.
Yeah. But Taylor gets away. Franklin sees a news report of Taylor being wanted for questioning. Imagine what's going through Franklin's head at this point. Like, the police want this guy for questioning, yet you've got your supposed abductor locked up and you've tortured him already.
Mm-hmm. And dude, how fucking accurate is that police sketch? I'm like, dude, there's never a police sketch that looks that fucking good. Get the hell out of here, man.
Right, and it was dark as shit too. Like, I don't know how Loki could have...
They might as well have just taken his fucking Facebook profile picture and slapped it on the 6 o'clock news. I'm like, come on, dude, that looks exactly like him.
Right, totally. So Franklin raises this with Dover, who says that they know each other. There's no evidence of this, but Dover is so blinded by his determination. Like there is nothing, absolutely zero to confirm that Bob Taylor and Alex Jones know each other. But
you know the crazy part.
Yeah,
he's right.
He is right. Yeah, he is right. No, he is right. But it's just like, if you're standing where Dover's standing right now, he's got no idea.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I believe there is a sequence here that I didn't really put into my notes. It's very quick. It's just Loki at this convenience store, or kind of like a little strip mall. Basically, he's investigating a report where this guy kind of came in and bought children's clothes. That we find out is Bob Taylor. So that comes back a bit later.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, what does she say? He buys children's clothes in different sizes?
Yeah, all in cash.
Like, whoa. Yeah, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, that throws up a flag, but it threw up a flag within a flag to me, because I'm like, who adopts children just to buy them clothes if you're just going to murder them? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess we don't know for a fact that they're murdered. We don't ever find any bodies, right? So it's like, I mean, that's kind of interesting, I guess, but who abducts children just to give them a different set of clothes? Like, that's just really odd.
Right. But, I mean, like, we find out that's not what Bob Taylor's doing. So Loki finds out Jones is missing. He grills the captain about not keeping Jones under surveillance. Look, the captain's just basically like, fuck this guy and his rights. Right? Like, he's like, well, that's not exactly what he says, but it's kind of the way he says it. Loki goes off to watch the footage of him interrogating Jones. Jones answers the questions, and he says, "Is my aunt coming?" Interesting. Back at Alcatraz, Franklin is starting to crack while Dover tells him that this could be the last night that matters. Franklin is questioned by Nancy, and he confesses. Interesting, bringing another party into this. Dover takes Nancy to see Jones, but much to our surprise, she kind of wants in, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's. I mean, again, how can you blame her? How can you blame her?
A grieving mother, yeah.
Yeah, well, it ends up being a thing of like, imagine right now if somebody said, this person in your family that was murdered 5 years ago, 2 of your family members, that's what they are. These people are like extended family. I mean, except for Terrence Howard, he is literally family, but come up and say, we've got this guy and we're like 90% sure that he did it and we're holding him and beating the shit out of him. Like, dude, how far would you go? How far would you go to know what happened? It's actually interesting. I don't want to give away the end of The Vanishing, that movie that I was talking about, but originally Hugh Jackman had a very different ending at the end of this movie, and it would have remained a He would have remained a missing person and died a la The Vanishing from 1988, but it was deemed too bleak. I was like, motherfucker, dude. I knew it. I fucking knew it, dude.
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it, like right at the end, like what we thought, what we think. But yeah, so they bring in Viola Davis's character. She plays the grieving mother so well. She's so awesome. She takes off Jones's face mask. Turns out he's got a leather face mask on because, dude, his face is all fucked up.
That is one thing that, like, I feel like at some point, how many times can you beat the fuck out of him? Like, where you have to swap it to like mental, psychological kind of torture. That I feel like is going to be way more of a cracking type thing,
right? But the thing is, they don't know anything about him.
Right, true. But I mean, to be honest though, if I went and I abducted some dude off the street and I did, I think if Hugh Jackman had started with what they started with, we're just gonna lock you in this thing and blast hot and cold water on you and just starve you out. You're like, dude, that's enough. You'll have no light, you'll have no social interaction, and if you do come out, we'll just beat the fuck out of you. Like, I think if he had started with that, maybe he would have gotten a little progress, like a little more progress. But I mean, his face, holy fuck. Like, good God, man. When that reveal, like, it's one of the few times in a movie I saw his face and I was like, whoa. I was like, that is hard to stomach, man. Like, he looks like Stallone at the end of Rocky 2. I was like,
totally.
Holy fuck,
I was literally thinking the same thing.
God damn, that's hard to look at, man.
It's awesome because, like, we don't get the reveal, like, right away. We get the look in on Viola Davis's face first, and she just starts crying, and then it's just like a hard cut to his face, and he's just like, please help me. He starts begging. Ugh. And she pleads with Jones and even loosens his restraints. Jones asks her to help him, but as soon as he hears Keller's voice, he makes a break for it, slicing Dover with a piece of broken glass in the process.
And part of me is wondering, there's a double meaning. Is he saying help me to get away from Hugh Jackman, or is he saying help me to get away from his quote unquote aunt?
Right.
Like, whew, a lot to take in, a lot to unpack.
Totally. So Dover brings Nancy and Franklin back to Shawshank and shows them the cells that he's built, Jones. Dude, I started running out of real prisons, so I was like, I gotta start using some fictional ones here in my notes.
Yeah. Takes him back to the Tower of London.
Totally. Yeah, man, he basically built him this cell. No light gets in, barely enough for him to sit down, rig the shower so it comes out either super hot or freezing. Ooh, dude. Wild.
Torture, man. Fucking torture. Straight torture.
But this is too far for Franklin, saying that it's not right, that this has to stop, and that he knows Dover. He doesn't even know that it's him.
Oh, dude, he says, go ahead, let him out if you want. I won't even try and stop you. And It's like, dude, because he knows. He knows. He's like, dude, you and I are in this. Grab an oar, motherfucker, because we're in the same boat. You're not gonna do. You're not gonna do this shit because you know deep down, if there's even a possibility that he knows this, you're not gonna do it. That's enough. And it's like, God damn, it's just like I love characters when there's just like their motivations is something that can cut through all the bullshit, all of the what ifs and corners and this could happen and the shoulda coulda woulda, the thing that cuts through all the bullshit, and that is it, and it's like infinite totality. It's like, dude, this is the thing, like this is the thing that cuts through all of that. I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, it actually, to like harken back to an old episode of ours, Flatliners, like when Kiefer Sutherland is trying to convince Kevin Bacon, and Kevin Bacon's like, no, there's all the risk and blah blah, and Kiefer Sutherland just goes, what if it worked? Dude, that's enough. That's enough for him. Like, for your scientific mind, that is enough. I love that.
Tips him over the edge for sure. Yeah. But dude, I also like I like that it's this struggle about morals between these two, between Franklin and Dover. Like, there's not even like a conversation about like, but what if we get caught by the police? Like, they don't give a fuck about going to jail for this. Like, they just want to find their daughters.
All right, at least you can visit your kid in jail, rather than go into a fucking graveyard.
Exactly. Like, I think it's important to mention that like, prison time, done. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just want to find my daughter alive and safe.
Well, dude, and you know how lenient they're going to be with that shit. I mean, to be completely honest, dude, like it's they're gonna turn the cheek a little bit. You might not serve, you're not serving 6 months, but you're not serving 15 years.
Right. But yeah. Like the judge is gonna have to weigh up so much shit for that. Like I would not, do not want to be a part of that fucking sentencing hearing. Jesus Christ.
Jesus,
no way.
Would you defend that person?
Would I defend
as a lawyer?
Would I defend?
I mean, the Hugh Jackman. Would you defend him? Could you?
Yeah, sure.
You think you can make a good case?
I wouldn't be able to get him off, but I could probably make a good case for why he did what he did.
What if you use both hands? Could you get him off then? I'm just kidding.
Dude, I only need one. Come on, dude. But I love how like we go from like talking about torture to like a hand job.
Yeah. Keeping it classy on Midnight Double Feature.
Nancy pleads with Franklin to stop and to think about Joy. God damn, this scene's deep, man. These like all three of these actors are just top notch. But I love this like a really brief shot of Jones inside, like the light coming through the eye hole. Fuck. Deacons, ooh. Man. Deacons. Nancy tells Franklin basically that ignorance is going to have to be bliss, right? We're not going to help Dover, but we won't stop him either. Nancy walks inside. Their daughter's door is closed, but this is kind of a fake out because before we got to look in that Bob Taylor was on the prowl inside the Birch home, right?
Yeah, man.
We don't find out why until much, much later, but this is a pretty good fake out.
When I honestly first saw this and they were trying to link this stuff with the mazes later on, I was like, dude, is the neighborhood, is the city the maze? Like, is he cutting through people's houses and just cutting mazes around? And in just whatever the maze is, he just picks kids that are in the maze. I was like, wow, that's fucking interesting. Totally not what happened. But I was just, me trying to figure shit out before it was time to figure shit out.
Like suburbia is kind of like the maze. That'll be awesome.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So we go back to Taylor inside the Dover home this time. And dude, like these scenes are so creepy. This home invasion stuff is so wild to me. Like, I can't deal with like, imagine like being so unsuspecting. Like you're in your bed and there's just some weirdo just creeping around downstairs. Ugh. And Grace thinks it's actually Anna that's coming back, which is super sweet, man. Like I was like, oh man, you poor soul. And she reports this to Loki about the window being open. He sees the meds, right? He's not really having it much, and he only writes down the report only after she asks, right?
Well, dude, in that little like symbolism here, if you look at her prescription, the first 4 letters are MAZE.
What?
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, dude. I don't know what the hell it is. It might even just be like a fictional prescription, but the first 4 are MAZE.
God damn, dude. I love Denis. I just he's just another level of director. I'm sorry. I just like, oh man, talk about just class, pure class. Yeah. In the basement, Loki notices Dover's supply, including the bags of lye, and this is where Loki starts to get suspicious, right?
Hell yeah, I would too.
Hell yeah, man. Like, this is some weird fucking terrorism shit.
Yeah, this guy's definitely on a watchdog group somewhere.
Definitely, man. He's on the no-fly list, for sure. But, dude, what do you reckon about taking a break right here? This is about halfway.
Let's do it.
Fucking awesome, guys. This has been a fantastic conversation, and we cannot wait to have more. We will be right back with more Prisoners. Well, look who made it this far into the episode. Just while we're taking a quick break here, we've got a few things that we just wanted to put out there for any newcomers, or if you're not part of our growing community, maybe this could benefit you too. Firstly, we just want to let the newbies know about our episodes and the way Midnight Double Feature currently is structured. As you know, right now you're listening to one of our feature presentations. When we started the podcast, we basically built the show around our feature presentations. These are movies that we choose to cover and basically go through everything in the movie that's worth talking about sequentially. These episodes are generally longer, and we're definitely looking at ways to spice up our feature presentations by hopefully getting guests on. We also have our upcoming attractions episode. Typically, these come out during the week and are much more shorter than our feature presentations. These are hosted by Matt Vella and basically consist of a conversation between Matt and I about any movie news that's worth talking about, quick reviews of movies that are out of the cinema, and other hijinks. Finally, we have our special features. These are usually one-off special episodes that are mostly experimental and don't really have any specific definition. They could be a sit-down with a cast or crew member, a conversation between the hosts, or just a straight-up different thing that might not even relate to film. Before I let you get back to the episode, I just wanted to thank our listeners and supporters. We definitely couldn't have done any of this without your guys' constant support. If, for some reason, you're not a part of our growing community, head to our socials. We've got 2 pages on Facebook, Midnight Double Feature, which is our main page and has our formal announcements, and we also have the After Party, which is where we post memes, news, and teasers of what's to come on Midnight Double Feature. We're also on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. You can also send us an email if you have any grievances or would like to let us know what we're doing wrong. That's midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, guys. Back to the show. Hey guys, welcome back. We are freshly squeezed, as we like to say here at Midnight Double Feature, and we're diving right back into Prisoners. Okay, so where do we close out? Basically, Loki was getting suspicious of Dover, right?
Right, yeah. This is right after Bob is kind of like walking around through the house and shit.
Creep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got the whole fucking Doomsday Prepper Mad Max. That's kind of one reason why I was like, dude, come on, Hugh Jackman would be awesome Mad Max.
Totally,
look at all this shit.
Totally. But yeah, the day after that, Loki tells Dover, who I guess starts suspecting that he's being followed and he gets spooked. And this is kind of like that scene right at the liquor store. This is one of my favorite sequences in the entire movie, dude, this whole conversation here. Dover fucking walks up to Loki and confronts him. He's like, I parked at the liquor store. I have a bottle of liquor.
Yeah. He's like, you're the detective. Figure it out.
Right. But essentially, Dover's like dodging Loki's questions because he saw Keller start walking in the other direction before he got spooked. And Dover suggests that maybe Jones skipped town. And man, just goddamn, this scene's outstanding. These 2 actors are fantastic.
Well, yeah, and the fact that Hugh Jackman is like, the stuff that he's saying are logical explanations. Oh, well, he's gone missing. Oh, wow, that's weird. The guy who's your prime suspect has skipped town. Wow, that's never happened before. It's like,
right.
That's pretty suspicious. Like, he actually throws some logical shade at what he's asking him,
Right. Loki does some research on Campello Street, which is where Dover was headed towards, and finds an article about a guard committing suicide there, right? I don't know if you're going to get this particular reference, but back at Fox River Penitentiary, Dover tortures Jones with a shower. You didn't get that one?
No.
Fox River was from Prison Break.
Oh, I thought you were going to say... I figured you would have gone like Wentworth, like the Australian Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of that show. But yeah, Prison Break Season 1, for sure. Awesome. Jones whispers saying that he waited and he never came and that he just wanted to play. Dover prays, hoping to obtain pardon for his sins. I don't think it's here where Dover stops right before he's like trespass against, where we forgive those who trespass against us. Like, because later he does a Lord's Prayer again. And like he just can't get the words out as we forgive those who trespass against us. He just can't get those words out. It's pretty cool.
That's like the ultimate fucking test of your faith right there, man.
Totally. I don't think it's here. I think it might be a bit later, but yeah. So Loki rocks up and finds Dover on the floor. Not going to find 2 girls here, am I? You savage. Yeah, right? You savage. Dover's like lying through his teeth, basically, saying that he didn't tell Loki about this place because it didn't matter. But what does Loki say, Colin? Like you said?
Oh, yeah, everything matters. I love that. I also love how he throws the shade right at Loki when he comes in. He's just laying on the floor, like plays dead, basically. I was like, dude, fucking smart.
Right.
Like just acting like he's just here, passed out drunk. I'm like, whew.
Clever.
That is awesome, dude.
Clever girl. Loki gets a call from the department store chick who he interviewed earlier, who reports that a guy was being shifty and buying children's clothes. Like, what? She's back, right? Oh, he's back, I guess, and he's taken off. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Dover gets saved by the bell. Yeesh. Close call.
Yeah.
At Bob Taylor's house, Loki gets right into it and just asks him why he ran, to which Taylor plays coy. He admits that he has no children before trying to slam the door on Loki, who subdues and cuffs him. This is wild. But again, man,
yeah, I love this scene, especially when like he busts in the door and just slams his head into that fucking wall.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's brutally awesome.
Oh, so fucking brutally awesome. But it's like this scene here with Bob Taylor kind of like talking to Loki. If you like compare this to like later when Bob Taylor is like kind of like acting a little Dano-ish, like he's got that kind of like, you are capable of maintaining a conversation. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're not totally far gone.
Well, and obviously the dude has some kind of 9 to 5. You know, he's got this house. Like, he is, I'm not going to say a fully functioning adult, but I mean, he has all the like makings of one, you know?
Totally. But yeah, man, maze walls, fucking rotting pig in the sink, flies everywhere. Jesus. And Loki just busts in and finds a bunch of heavy-duty crates, which have all been padlocked. He breaks them open, finds bloody clothes and snakes, of all things. Jesus. But in one of them, he finds a stack of papers with these weird-as-fuck drawings. Back at the station, Loki shows the crime scene photos of the of the clothes found at Taylor's house to the Birches. And I guess from Nancy's reaction, we can gather that the clothes matched those belonging to Joy. I love that, like, they don't outright have a scene of Loki, of the identification. Like, I love that we get the confirmation that it's Joy's clothing from Nancy. Like, her reaction. I love that.
Right, yeah, it's not just 100% direct. It's kind of like context clues. It's like,
for sure.
Oh, man.
That's filmmaking, dude. Awesome. We also find out that Taylor apparently admitted to killing Anna and Joy, right? Like, he's just... Yeah.
I mean, what do you think's going on? I mean, I assume this is... I mean, he's just a copycat, you know, but there's so much to be said about the fact that, I mean, this guy could have been a legitimate copycat. He could have started abducting kids, started killing them, but it's like, I mean, let's look at the title of this, Prisoners. That's something that I kind of wanted to get into. We've got, you know, Loki is the only one who's kind of, and I keep saying Loki, thinking, you know, like fuck, I know. And the more and more I think about it, I'm like, Gyllenhaal would have been a good Loki, man. He really would have.
Totally.
But everybody is a prisoner in their own way. I think that, you know, you look at Alex Jones and Bob. What is Bob's last name? Taylor, yeah. You look at the two of them, and it's like they are victims and prisoners in their own minds now. And then through the grief that's inflicted through the aunt, she is a prisoner in her own grief, and she ends up being the warden of prisons in a sense. And the fact that she makes these people prisoners. You know, Keller ends up being a prisoner in his own right because, you know, he can't see past the walls, you know, to get where he's going.
Right.
He just
prisoner
kind of
of emotion, basically.
Blind. Right, exactly. And I think Loki is one of the only ones who can kind of rise above that. He's one of the only ones, I think, that, like, if you're thinking about this like a literal maze, like a literal labyrinth, he's one of the only ones that just kind of like jumps up and kind of lifts himself up to see exactly where it is that he's going. I think that's really interesting. It's hard for me to see a flaw in his character. I know he's a little rough around the edges and stuff, and he's not a perfect cop, you know, especially later on, he really starts to lose it. I guess you could say that's kind of like his flaw, but that doesn't come out until much later.
Yeah, I think it's tough. Like, in terms of like Loki being kind of like not flawed. But that being said, I don't really want there to be more to this story. Like, I'm fine with what I have. Like, if you have Loki later in the film when he's like so desperately trying to drive Anna to the hospital and he's so driven, I don't really want a backstory of Loki kind of like failing a situation like that, failing in another situation like that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no, yeah, for sure. We've got enough meat on this bone.
Right, exactly.
Well, and Keller, you wasted time following me, and he points at that fucking picture. You let this happen. I'm like, fuck,
right,
dude.
yeah, right. That comes right after he identifies one of Anna's socks. But yeah, man, you let this happen. Like, you need to remember that, like, Loki is a cop. He's a human being. Like, like, even though he's got this job, this kind of responsibility to find your daughter, he's still a human being. Like, to put that on him, Jesus fucking Christ, man. That's heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the Dover home, Keller tells his son not to talk to the press. I love the little details, man. Like, as Keller raises the blinds, you see his hand shaking. Do you notice that?
Dude, yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Fucking
I was
awesome,
like, wow.
That's awesome.
This whole thing of like wanting to contain, like, unplug the TV and get the papers and don't tell your mom, like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Right.
try all you want. Like, you can try and Truman show her all you want and seal her up away from the world. She's gonna fucking find out. Come on, dude.
Right. You can sequester her like a fucking jury and she's still going to find out. Like,
Right. And the whole thing of, not to skip too far ahead, but him arguing with his son right here, and they get into the physical altercation. I love the dollhouse being tipped over. It's, super metaphorical of like what's going on, the destruction of this household, and it literally being tipped over like on its own head. It's just really symbolic of the situation. I mean, obviously that's intentional. We get a direct shot of it. But just the fact that I think also seeing Keller take this rage out on for all we know, his only child, the only child that's left. I was like, God, that's really fucking interesting. Just to see that instead of trying to accept the fact that maybe, you've got bloodstained clothing, you have this guy admitting to it, instead of taking that into any kind of consideration and then saying, yeah, this might be it. Why don't I try and help my son through this, for Christ's sakes? For all he knows, his little sister's dead, his mom's drugged up, his dad's drinking and trying to figure this shit out. It's just all falling apart. And I think that's just, man, it's just so tragic.
Yeah, man. What did you, at this point, what did you think about, did you buy that Anna might have been dead?
No. Because we still have like an hour of movie left.
Right.
Also, at the same time, it's kind of circumstantial. We see the pig's head in the sink is kind of what threw me off. I'm like, why would he have a pig's head? And then, he's got all the blood and stuff, all over the clothes. And I'm like, just because you have these articles of clothing, it says that, the shopkeeper says that he's been coming in and buying different types of children's clothes. And I was like, man, this is just like, this is too easy. I was like, I think that this is just the red herring, because it just so happens he spots him at the candlelight vigil, and it just so happens that somebody recognizes his picture, and all this other stuff. I was like, this is too easy. I think that this is something that will. I mean, for God's sakes, imagine what Keller is thinking. Fuck, I have the wrong fucking guy.
Right. And that's the moral of the story, right?
Right. Your most like horrifying suspicions are confirmed. Like, holy fuck.
Right, dude. Totally. It's wild. This is the what this movie deals with, and in such like kind of like on the surface level, like very simply, it could just be a murder mystery or a kidnapping mystery, but it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper to levels that it doesn't need to. But I'm so appreciative that it does. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Keller manhandles his son, telling him to shut up. I just want him to punch this kid in the face. I do.
Yeah, right.
Fuck this kid. But again, man, yeah, we already know that Keller's already unraveled, but he's unraveling even more here. Back at the station, Taylor's drawing a map to the bodies, or so at least Loki hopes. Loki starts to lose it too, right? He assaults Taylor, who, during the scuffle, grabs a pistol and blows his brains out.
Holy fuck. I mean, I think that, this is a movie that doesn't really have, like, action sequences, really. I mean, every once in a while, we get some cool shit peppered in it's a 2.5 hour long movie. You got to give us something. But it's enough to see Loki cracking and like slamming his fucking head into the thing. I mean, for one thing, I had a boner the size of Arkansas when he started fucking this dude up. Like even if he's not the one who murdered these kids, there's still, dude, you cannot let this guy back into society, like be a functioning member of society. Something is way too fucked up in this dude's head. But then, just seeing him lose his shit, this is like very Dark Knight to me, he's under control, and then he fucking locks the door with the chair. Not saying that's what happens in this movie. I'm saying it just reminds me of this, of the Dark Knight interrogation sequence. But just him losing his shit. But what I thought was, this is where I guess the flaw of Loki comes in, because once he, I guess when you look at Keller tried things Loki's way. They didn't work out. He goes a different path. Loki sticks to his morality. He sticks to his law. He sticks to his profession. And when he even tries to deviate away from that, it goes horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. I mean, hey, you beat the fuck out of this guy, and then he ends up drawing a weapon off of another officer. And it's like, man, I mean, whether or not these girls are found or who's dead or whatever, you don't have a job at the end of this, dude. There's no way. And I think his chief even says something that later on. He's like, well, at least I don't have to worry about losing you to like SPS or something. Because I took that as him being fired, or maybe he's being denied a promotion or something. Because through his actions, I guess you can debate it directly or indirectly.
Right.
Because of that scuffle, he's able to get the gun and kill himself. And that right there, that ceases all line of questioning with him. That could have had any kind of validity or helpfulness to the investigation.
Yeah. I mean, hey, through all your ramblings and shit, you actually do make sense. So. So this is the moment where Dover prays, but is unable to finish the Lord's Prayer, right? Like he says, he can't say, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And like you said, great point, dude. Like he can't bring himself to say that because that's not what he believes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dover tells Jones that he thinks they're done, but before he does anything, Jones says that they're in the maze, and that's where he'll find them.
Ooh. Oh, by the way, Keller, German word for cellar, basement.
Oh, nice. Good pull. Holy fuck.
Well, I mean, and if we want to get just a quick little thing, I mean, I did my research. I gotta get this out.
Nice.
When you're looking at
I'm
Loki,
so glad you like this movie enough to do research.
Oh, dude, I mean, even if you don't like this movie, it's going to leave you scratching your head so much that you have to
totally.
do some digging.
Yeah.
The tattoo on Loki's neck is like the 8-sided star. It's actually the sign. It's actually like a, I don't know if it's so much a Christian symbol, but I know it has to do with like rebirth, with like with kind of like a renewing of things, with with something along those lines. It's kind of a loose interpretation of it. But also the fact that when you look at all of his stuff that's on him, we've got the tattoo on the knuckles, we've got the Freemason's ring,
right? I think I noticed that. He's got on.
Yeah. None of those things are like traditional Christian symbols, which is interesting. And it ends up being that I get almost this like weird Prometheus kind of vibe from him. Because it's like, God, stealing fire from the gods and bringing it to man. Because it's like you have this person who he is like this almost incorruptible kind of good in a way. He's almost like he couldn't lift Thor's hammer. You know what I'm saying? But like he could maybe nudge it a little bit. He's kind of got like a Captain America vibe to me in a way, like just in his moral center. But with Loki, I mean, obviously trickster god, through Norse mythology and stuff, but they also say that Loki, for being a trickster god, he's also known as a helper of other gods. So you have this character who's kind of, if you want to look at Keller, that Keller is almost like an Old Testament kind of religious thing, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I mean, I'm just saying that if you wanted to make an argument for Keller in a religious way, you have enough examples in the Bible to do that. But then you look at someone like Loki, who in a sense is a quote unquote god kind of helping another god in a way. I was like, that's really interesting. And I mean, that might be like digging a little bit too deep, but I was like, it's not an accident. His fucking name is Loki.
No,
like, come on,
it's
dude.
not. Like, not with honestly, not with a director like this. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
Right.
I don't. Like, I did the same thing with Jordan Peele's Us. Like, I'm like, there's nothing in here that's a mistake. Like, there's nothing in here that's kind of like peppered in just to be just to be weird. Everything has a meaning, dude. Everything has a double meaning. Everything has context. Everything has subtext. And I think it does take a little bit of digging to get there. I didn't really I couldn't piece together what Loki's sort of, because I mean, obviously I know about Loki even before the 2011 Thor and before like they made it famous. I always knew that Loki was the god of mischief, right? But I didn't really know how that fit in to the character of Loki in this film. So that's really interesting.
Right, yeah, because the name is very different from the character, you know? And I mean, I read somewhere his name is like David Wayne Loki, actually. So it's kind of interesting. He's got these two white bread American, you know, first and middle name, and then a Loki thrown in there at the end. I was like, oh,
that sounds like a serial killer's name, dude. You know how like serial killers' name always have like 3 names?
Yeah, well, it's like first thing I'm thinking is John Wayne Gacy, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, David Wayne something, you know?
Yeah. What's the guy's name from Zodiac?
Arthur Lee Allen.
Right.
I mean, dude, you got like James Earl Ray, who assassinated MLK, you know,
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Booth. Yeah, Lee Harvey, like, and I think that's just kind of the thing, you know. If I went out and I shot, you know, some famous person, you know, but it's funny when you get these people who assassinate celebrities, like the guy who shot John Lennon. I cannot for the life of me remember his fucking name, but I don't think that it's like, I don't think that it's like a 3-part name. But anytime you've got this like,
Mark David Chapman.
Mark David Chapman. Yeah, actually, there you go. It's fucking 3-part name. Anytime anybody does something like that, there's always the fucking 3-part thing in there.
It's wild.
I think that's interesting.
It's wild. Dover visits Aunt Holly. She tells him about her husband, so this is very important. They were devout, handing out pamphlets with their son who died when he had cancer. And then she says they adopted Jones. Quote, he had an accident when he was little. The husband kept snakes. So here we go with the information again, right? Like we're getting all of the pieces here. Well, most of the pieces. Dover finds a newspaper with a headline explaining Taylor's death. Holly in the background is quick to condemn him as a bad man, right?
Right, yeah, I mean, of course, because that's just, you know, hey, there's another loophole sealed I don't have to fucking worry about.
Right, exactly. But this is also where we see that Loki's unraveling. He trashes his desk, can't let it go. I just love Gyllenhaal so much, dude. I never used to like him. Dude. He just grew on me so much.
One thing I want to point out is the police chief. Have you ever seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Unfortunately not, man. I have a very big Coen Brothers kind of hole.
Oh, Jesus. God damn it. No, actually, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, I believe they filmed parts of that here in my state, in Tennessee. I actually didn't directly know somebody, but knew, I knew a friend of mine whose like cousins were in that. They play the little Warby girls. They're George Clooney's daughters in that. But one of the antagonists of the film is the police chief in this. He plays a guy named Homer Stokes. A really fucking hilarious character. Please watch that movie.
I do want to watch it. You know what? I will fucking watch it tonight. Let's do it. I'm watching it.
It's so great.
It's streaming on
so
Netflix.
Funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So Loki connects the maze necklace on the dead corpse in the priest's basement to Taylor's drawing. He gets a call. Forensics found 2 mannequins with the heads caved in on Taylor's property, and that it was pig's blood on the children's clothes. So again, not all is as it seems.
Right.
Loki tells his partner that Taylor was abducted as a kid. The abductor used an LSD/ketamine cocktail and ran away after 3 years.
Did we just real quick? Did we go past him connecting the maze thing? I'm sorry. Did you talk about that?
I did say that. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, fucking learn your ear. Learn to open your ears, dickhead.
I'm reading a little. I was looking up I'm looking up the max jail time for felony assault that Hugh Jackman would have to serve. Okay, real quick. The seriousness of the threat and surrounding circumstances will make the assault charge a felony or a misdemeanor. For instance, federal law divides assault into a felony punishable by 10 years imprisonment and a misdemeanor punishable by 1 year. So I think at most, I mean, you could say maybe he's going for attempted murder, but for all intents and purposes, it's assault and battery. He would serve 10. I think a jury's going to give him 5, dude. Like, I've heard stories about the guy who was waiting in the airport for his son's. His son was attacked by a pedophile. He shot the guy in the face in an airport and didn't serve any jail time.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is America, dude. Like, and if you put me on that jury, I'm going to be like, not only is he not going to jail, can we give him a reward? Like is there somehow to like flip like the Uno flip card on this motherfucker?
So, because you took me down a rabbit hole, let me hit you with the assault for New South Wales here in yeah. You got common assault. There are many types of assault, right? So you got common assault, which carries a maximum sentence of 2 years, or fines up to $2,200. These are tiny things, like it could be like a threat, or something like that. Nothing that big, right? Then you have aggravated assault. So aggravated is like a serious assault. I don't really have the sentence. What the sentence is of that? It's pretty big, I think. But then you also have assault occasioning actual bodily harm, which carries a maximum sentence of 7 years. Then you have assault occasioning grievous bodily harm, which carries, I believe, a sentence of 25 years, so maximum.
Jesus.
Yeah, massive. So penalties for wounding and grievous bodily harm. Wounding and grievous bodily harm offences will almost always result in jail sentences on conviction, maximum range between 10 and 25 years. So, wild.
Crazy.
Yeah,
this is so interesting. No, I'm just kidding.
It's interesting to me, but everyone else is going to be like, shut the fuck up.
Well, because, I mean, I will say it does play a part of, like, with Keller, it's like, man, you're going to go to jail. You're going to do a long time for this. Like, dude, no jury is going to fucking convict this guy. Come on.
But even, like what I was saying, it's not even a factor to Dover. It's not even a factor.
Right.
Like, they don't even...
Right.
Like, him and Franklin discuss nothing about being caught by police. It's more about whether this is right or wrong. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so this is interesting. Loki thinks that Loki's partner thinks that he's doing an imitation of his captor, which is what you were saying, right? Yeah. And Loki is adamant that there's a connection between Taylor and the corpse. How did the parents ID the clothes? We know that it's because Taylor is a prowler. Is this me fucking editorializing here? Hold on. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is okay. Because Loki goes back to the house and he goes back through his notebook and Grace's report, and he confirms it when he sees the footprints outside the window. So that's how he connects the clothes to Taylor, right?
Right, yeah. Fucking thorough, dude.
Yeah, thorough. And he also finds the other sock in the muddy garden too. So Grace receives a call saying that they found Joy. Dover questions Joy just fucking immediately, dude. He's so intimidating.
Yeah, don't fucking blame him.
No, I don't. Honestly, I do not. I 100% get... Look, man, should we talk about Dover for a sec? Should we talk about, like, whether all of this is justified, whether we would do it?
Yeah, I think this is a good part because we've gotten pretty much through all the torture, right, and we've gotten the red herring of Bob, and yeah, I think now's a good point as ever. I mean, I've been a chatty cat through this whole thing. What do you think?
Man, it's tough because of where I stand in law and stuff. So I don't. It's tough for me. I definitely see everything. I 100% sympathize with Dover. I 100% sympathize with him taking everything into account and taking almost nothing into account at the same time, right? But it's also like, and look, here's a disclaimer before we dive into this conversation. and let's not bring it up again because neither of us have children, so neither of us can make a fair sort of like call. But it's like we have both been blinded by emotion at some point in our lives, like for sure, and like we have both been sort of like 100% determined on a point that we will make that point without even like taking on board any other circumstance or any other evidence. So, man, like when you amp those stakes up, like nothing to the stakes of Dover. Like we have never been in that situation. So if you amp those stakes up to Dover's stakes, where he's just so determined, but he's ignoring so much evidence, I don't know. I think emotion does override evidence as a parent. So I do think he is justified, even though what he is doing is wrong, technically.
Right. I think I definitely agree because look at somebody like Keller, and he sees the world in black and white. His favorite song is Star Spangled Banner. He is, I think it's kind of given to the point that he is a reformed alcoholic. He's like, I haven't touched a drop in 9.5 years. It's like, you don't measure it that close unless you're like proud of the fact that you haven't been drinking that much. I think also, my favorite band is, Bruce Springsteen, and he's a carpenter, he's just self-made kind of red-blooded American guy. And when you take somebody who seems like they have that much faith in the system, which it does, it seems like he pays his taxes, he seems like a normal guy, and they have abided by the system, pray for the best and prepare for the worst. And, he feels like he has all of his bases covered, and to, be optimistic, but practical and realistic at the same time, and feel like you covered all those bases, and to feel like you're a tax-paying, God-fearing American guy, and to have this still happen to you would be such a grave injustice in your mind. I think that's fundamentally kind of what Keller is about. But then you also sprinkle the stuff on top of it of you have these people like Alex Jones and like Bob, who are, just these nonsensical, can't get any information out of them type of people. And I think that drives around the fucking bend. And it's different. If we were to just grab somebody who's of clear sound in mind after a day of being in that fucking box, they'd be like, all right, cool, I'll tell you anything you want, but he doesn't know the extenuating circumstances of what led them to become the way that they are. But he's also not wrong in the extent of like, Alex does know where they are. And it's like, if Alex is of clear mind enough to drive a car to A, try to escape, and then B, when he can't escape, immediately defend himself. I mean, dude, he's fucking quick. Like, that takes quick thinking. I said that earlier. This is a guy who knows what's about to go down. He knows the score. I still can't figure out why he was never just like, yeah, I know where they are. And it's like, I don't understand that. And I think that Keller is right in what he does, because ultimately, he's right for all these emotional and moral arguments and stuff like that. And you could even go into like religious reasons, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and blah, blah. But at the same time, the most important things of all these are, if he doesn't kidnap Alex, then, if he doesn't kidnap Alex, he never goes to the apartment buildings. If he never goes to the apartment buildings, Loki never follows him. He never finds Alex. He finds Alex, so he goes to his aunt's house at the end, saves the girl, and ends up, debatably saving Keller himself at the end. We can talk about that when we get to that point. I don't want to like jump into that now, but ultimately, had Keller not done what he set out to do, also him taking Alex is what drives the aunt to bring the girls up out of the thing. She said she was lonely. And it's like, dude, without, I mean, they have to have each other. If both of them are law abiding citizens, this doesn't work. It just doesn't. You can bang your head against the wall with this, like, God's law is man's law, and all this stuff, which I don't abide by. I think that's total bullshit. But there's just times where, I mean, let's say you get murdered today. And
thanks, bro. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, fuck, throw Danny and Matt in there too. I don't give a fuck. Kill them all. No, I'm just kidding. Let's say somebody murders all three of you guys. I'm the only survivor or something like that. I positively identify them. I know for a fact that it's them, but through some type of bullshit legal loophole, they're able to get out of this. Do you let that slide? Can you abide that? Can you just let that happen? And I'm like, I don't think I can. I was like, I'm not going to walk up, I mean, I may pay somebody $10,000 to walk up and pull the fucking trigger, but like, I'm not going to be the one to go and do it. Because I don't want to live the rest of my life in prison, but can you just let that fucking happen? It's like, man, that's just, I mean, it's such a tough call when you're not, of course I'm sitting here comfy in my little, in my little podcasting area, drinking my fucking coffee, watching this movie. But it's impossible to say, I think, really, until you're in the situation. It's kind of like being in a fight. Oh man, if I were in a fight, I'd do this and then throw this and do that. Dude, no, you don't know until you're fucking in the thing, until you know what kind of enemy you're dealing with. And I think that it's so easy to say on the surface, like, yes, he's so fucking justified in what he's doing. But at the same time, I mean, look what he's done to an already extremely traumatized kid. It's just horrible. I mean, that kid looks like fucking Mr. Potato Head by the time they pull him out of that bitch. So it's just such a gray area. But I think ultimately it just boils down to the fact that had he not done any of that stuff, the investigation never would have been solved. So without him actually breaking the law cannot succeed. So it's like, I think that's the whole kind of moral of the story, is that you're going to have to stay within the lines, but when it starts to interfere with like the main goal, you're gonna have to step outside of them.
I can't follow that.
Mic drop.
I can't follow that. No, dude, I totally agree. It's kind of like this weird like yin and yang situation. Like
right, exactly.
Like they have to kind of coexist, but at the same time, yeah. Oh, dude, it's awesome. Like I know that there are films out there that posit this kind of question as well, but I can't. Unfortunately, none of them come to mind, and I can't think of any that do it better than this. So,
no, yeah, I've never seen a movie that is so like morally thought provoking. Like, man, there's just so few of them that really poke your head like this does.
And look, let's put it out there. We talked about the influences of this movie, but pretty much this movie's wholly original, which is crazy to be in 2013.
Right, yeah. They're actually, it's funny, I pulled up an article with extreme similarities between The Vanishing and this movie. It's on Reddit. It's actually really interesting. And it's still, I mean, way more complicated than The Vanishing is, and I think that it has a influence, but not enough to where I think you can draw any type of suspicion or conclusions or anything.
Right. So, let's go back into this. So we get this flashback from Joy's perspective. We see a book saying, quote, "Finish all the mazes and you can go home." And then you kind of like see the girls make a break for it, but Anna is grabbed and Joy makes it out. Dude, that is haunting, like the way that's shot.
Oh, yeah.
Joy says that Dover was there and that it put tape on our mouths. What do you reckon by Dover was there?
See, that's what threw me off at first. Again, I had to do a little digging. I wasn't smart enough to figure this out. When I first saw it, I was like, dude, if it ends up being that Dover is the one who has kidnapped these kids because something has happened to him. Yeah, because I'm thinking, oh my God, his dad is the one who abducted these kids and he killed himself when he thought he was going to be found out. And holy shit, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, no, that can't fucking be it. This movie's not. Denis Villeneuve's better.
I don't need a bullshit twist. Yeah, I'm good.
Right. And I was very on high alert when that happened. she says you were there because he goes and visits the aunt, and I think that the girls were I think they were in the house or somewhere close by in proximity where they could see and hear him at least.
You know what? I've seen this movie like 3 times and I still didn't piece that together.
Oh no, dude! I had to Google that shit. I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what do you mean he was there?"
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, how the when? Oh boy, but fucking awesome, dude. Just awesome, kind of like mystery shit. Like, you know what I mean? And she says it put tape on her mouths. Like, she just refers to Holly as an it, which is kind of cool. Like, I love that kind of like this whole kind of separation that it's not even a human doing this. It's something else. It's a monster. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Dover hightails it out of there, and Loki follows in pursuit, ending up back at Guantanamo, where you can hear Jones just being fucked up.
Oh, dude, his
crying, man.
Brutal.
Yeah. Just how soft spoken he is, and you can even hear like his like vocals in his crying, dude. It's insane. Dover goes over to Holly's place, offers some penance, but I love how this is kind of like cut because it's like we don't fully know what Alex has told Dover, so we don't really know why he's here at this point. But the look on like Dover's face kind of says it all, right? I don't want to have to hurt you. I know they were here, but before he can do anything, she pulls a gun on him.
Dude, fuck this old bitch, man. There's like 10 times I would have knocked her goddamn teeth. I know I literally just said, oh, if I were to fight, I would do this, blah, blah. Dude, there's a lot of opportunities here where I'm like, I know she's got a gun on you, and I know she's not like 80. She could probably pop a couple off on you, you know. But, like, especially when he's backing up the car, like, later on, I'm like, dude, punch that fucking gas and fucking wreck her ass, dude. Like there's so many opportunities there where I'm like, if I were right there, I don't know, it might fucking be worth just taking the bullet. Like it really might.
Right.
Like, cause I think at this point, Keller knows that they're going to find Alex in the apartment. I think he knows that.
It's kind of like this last ditch effort. Yeah.
Right. So if they're going to find Alex, they're going to come back here. So even if I'm dead, this is kind of like a death mission. Even if I'm dead, I know that they're going to find me. And if they find me here and this bitch dead and me dead, they're going to find these girls.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think, look, as much as a fucking old woman Melissa Leo is, I just think anyone who's pointing a gun at me, and yeah, I'm probably gonna do the same thing as Dover here. I'll bitch out, dude. Like, like you guys are capable of fucking kidnapping and killing children. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna hesitate with putting my hands up because I know you're probably gonna pull that trigger. So.
Fucking children! I'm goddamn Wolverine. Fuck you, bitch.
I can heal. Yeah.
Yeah, she shoots him and he just like bullets start popping out of his chest. She's like, "Oh my god!"
Oh god. Yeah, she orders him to cuff himself. You don't know me, Mr. Dover, but believe me when I tell you, I won't let you go. She makes him drink that LSD ketamine cocktail, saying that drinking it is his ticket to his daughter right there. She explained to Dover about how she and her husband took Jones when he was a kid. Quote, making children disappear is the war we wage with God. I had to slow down since my husband disappeared, but I do what I can. Awesome. Love it.
Ooh, Jesus.
Holly makes Dover look into a hole where Anna and Joy were held when the police were poking around. She shoots him in the foot and orders him to crawl in the hole. I'd love for you to still be alive when I dump your daughter's body down there. And she covers the hole with the Trans Am. Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, well, and also I want to talk about her here for this second of, again, I think that you look at Keller can go a couple of different ways. I don't think he becomes this woman if his daughter is killed and something happens. It's easy to say that. Oh, we have an extremely religious parent who loses a child and goes down this, like, turn to the dark side, like, kind of thing. I don't think that Keller becomes the aunt. I think that Keller becomes Alex Jones's real mom, the one who sits around all day and watches the tape over and over and over.
Someone
again.
Who's just broken.
So
yeah,
right, exactly. So it's like there's so many different ways that Keller can go with this. It's like it's so interesting how she's talking about how we make demons out of people, we make monsters. where it's like she had to kind of become that herself to inflict that on people. So there's just God, there's so much like much like the snake, it's just interwoven like back and forth, and everything comes full circle. Like
It's
a
genius.
tragedy. Tragedy befalls you, and you befall tragedy, and create all these like different mini pockets of it and shit. I'm like, holy hell, that's crazy.
Totally, dude. Like it's insane writing. Like I envy the writer. You know what I mean? Like I wish I had that
Mm-hmm.
brain. Yeah. And she covers the whole of the Trans Am. So Loki's ordered to go to Holly Jones's place to notify her of Alex. Down in the pit, Dover finds Anna's red whistle, which is interesting.
Yeah, I knew that shit was going to come back in somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Like there had to be something. Loki arrives at Holly's place, finds a photo of her ex-husband wearing the necklace, and he comes across Holly, orders her to put up her hands. Make sure they cremate me. I sure as hell don't want to be put in some box. And fucking Loki nails her, but not before she injects something into Anna and he takes a bullet, right?
Yeah, she's not a bad shot, man. She clips him pretty close to the fucking
Pretty
temple.
good, dude.
Like, oh, that's not a bad shot for a fucking for an old bitch.
For a senior, yeah. But yeah, man, dude, like this whole sequence of Loki driving out into the hospital is amazing. Like, I love the lights and the lighting.
Yes, there's a shot as he's driving. I think it's right around the 2:18 mark. 2 hours 18 minutes and 32 seconds, where it's like this perfect, probably my favorite shot of the movie is him just flying and the camera's kind of overhead on it, and you see all the headlights from like a mile back and just him weaving in and out. I'm like, dude, that is beautiful.
It's fantastic, man. This is Deakins. This is Deakins just killing it, crushing the game. But yeah, like there's a lot of imagery here that comes back, like the windshield, like the kind of like the water and the windshield shit that we got at the start of the movie as well.
Well, and the weather too. I don't want to skip over it. Not a goddamn sunny day in sight.
No,
ever in this movie.
Very Seven.
Everything's overcast. Yeah, everything's overcast and snowing and raining. It's fucking never a bright day.
Right, exactly, and like that definitely helps a lot with the tonal stuff, right? Like you don't really establish a very good tone with like sunny days and shit with this kind of thematic stuff. But yeah, I love how he just gets blood in his eyes, dude. He can barely see. But he makes it to the department store. Jesus Christ. He makes it to the emergency department.
Him falling out of the car when he gets there, such a great touch.
Oh, so good.
Him just slipping his ass off.
Yeah, you're gonna need to help me with the ending here, because my notes just start to trail off because I got fucking tired as shit.
I also like the Justice is Blind kind of a little bit of metaphor, like as he's driving, the blood getting in his eyes. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, dude, what are you, my fucking English teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, man. But yeah, he gets Anna help, and he has a conversation with Grace the next morning, right?
Right, yeah, and this is where we see Barry Milland, I think, is the kid's name. Alex Jones's real name, I think.
Right.
And what I love about this, what I took away from it, is the fact that, yes, on the top page, it's interesting. The top page is, Alex has been, oh my God, he's been reunited with his family. Flip to the bottom, almost like it's underneath, like underground, is still missing Keller. It's like, oh shit. And there's just this air of, even though, he's just kind of like, cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Because he's not satisfied. He's not fucking satisfied. He wants to know. This is a guy with 100% success rate, and the investigation into Keller, it's very easy to say, just like with Alex, oh, you're guilty, so you ran. Very easy to say that, but this is a guy who knows better, and this will play to the end of it as well. He's like, I know this guy well enough by now to know that if his daughter was alive and well, there's no way that he would stay away from her. There's no way that if she were walking around and healthy and home, that he could not come out of hiding for that. There's no fucking way. He'd be here right now, even if it meant going to jail. Because like you said earlier, he doesn't care. He's willing to pay those consequences.
Yeah, he definitely made peace with it, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Later that night, Loki goes back to Holly's property and is told by the forensic team that it'll take weeks to excavate the entire property. And man, I love the patience that Denis has here, right? Like, it's just, you hold on Gyllenhaal's face for so long until you start hearing the whistles. And then it's just...
This is when I started getting pissed off.
Really?
To be honest.
Really?
Dude, because for one thing, I was like, dude, if they pull some fucking, like, Sopranos ass bullshit and cut to black, I'm going to be fucking pissed. And that's kind of what they did. But, I mean... And for one thing, when they showed that car, I was like, dude, there's like the first couple of times, and I'm like, no, there's something up with that car. I said to Lindsay, I was like, those girls are in that fucking trunk, dude. I was like, I bet you $100 they are, and it was fucking pissing me off, and I couldn't. I was like, something's going on with that car. But yeah, just and I love the whole. Really, when you think about the trees, how many shots of trees are in this movie? What's interesting is, like, you know, you look at the maze and then you look at the inside rings of like a tree. It's kind of like symbolic, but
right.
At the same time, every time we see Loki, and, you know, when he's in the diner, it's a dolly shot from behind coming in on him, you know, pulling in and zooming in, because it's kind of like showing the, you know, the pressure of this thing, you know, kind of like easing in on him. When he leaves, oh God, what is Alex's aunt's name? Holly, yeah. When he's leaving Holly's house, yeah, he walks outside. He's right in front of the car, and it's another dolly shot from behind. It's getting closer. Now he's standing in front of the tree. It's right up on him, and it's not moving. It's like, no, this is the end. Like, there's no more pressure coming down. Like, we are at, you know, threat level midnight. You know, we're at DEFCON 5. I think the zooming in is a really unique cinematic way of showing, like, the story kind of moving forward, but also the stress and the magnitude of everything just getting, you know, pulling him in and getting closer and closer and closer to him, to where it's like right on his back, and it's like, dude, this is the last gasp right here for you to solve everything and just put it all to bed.
Right. Like, it's all right. It's all right here. I don't mind this ending, dude. I kind of like it.
It just, dude, it hit a point where he hears kind of like he hears the whistle a little bit, and he's just like, whatever. And then he kind of turns away. Then it whistles again, and he's just like, what? And then finally, when he turns and he starts looking around, like, if he had walked off, I probably would have thrown my fucking remote and just walked the fuck away, because
he finds him.
He hears it.
He finds him.
Yeah, he hears it. Yeah, well, like, it's just, dude, after about the second or third time where he just kind of like, whatever, you know, he just kind of like, whatever, you know, doesn't really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I was getting fucking pissed. I was like, come on, dude. Like you are the guy who will you will turn over every rock and bust every fucking lead. Just go over there. I know you're gonna do it. Zoheb knows you're gonna do it. Just do it, dude. And I think that's why. I think he'd have to be a fucking idiot to think that he doesn't find Dover in there. You'd have to be a fucking idiot. There's no way. I mean, he has 100% track record. Everything matters.
He is as determined as Keller. Like, in some ways, and in other ways, he is as determined as Keller to get to the truth. And honestly, I know, like, once you've seen that he, like, the whistle's starting to get his curiosity, like, he's not the type of person to leave it alone.
Plus, he knows about the whistle.
Right, exactly.
He knows that, you know, this is a big thing. All of it's been culminating to this kind of point.
Right. He knows about the whistles. He knows that this is a crime scene. So, lots of coincidences. Yeah. Cut to black and Prisoners, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Ooh.
Dude. We are soaked.
Yeah.
Man, holy shit. That was a fun one to cover. Like, even though probably one of the bleakest movies we've ever covered on the podcast, but damn, I had fun with this conversation, dude.
I don't know. It ain't Spotlight.
Nothing is, though, right? Like, Jesus Christ, that movie is hefty.
It shows you how hefty this movie is when like a child molesting priest is an afterthought in this movie.
Right.
You're like, what the fuck?
Right. Did we have any comments this week, or?
I'm actually looking on Facebook right now. Yeah, we've got one from, oh god, this guy's great. Fucking Michael Grizzard, the Grizz.
Badass.
Short, simple, and sweet. Great flick.
Hell yeah.
Fucking love.
Dude's got taste.
I love.
Dude's got taste.
Yeah, Grizz is always commenting on stuff. He's so he's great. He's always interacting with people in the after party and stuff. And I just love that's the thing. If you guys ever want any of your comments read on here, there's something, if you have a different perspective from us or something, feel free. I mean, just leave. Leave something, and possibly have your bullshit heard on air.
Especially with a movie like this, dude. I think there's a lot of ways that you can take stuff. So,
oh god, yes. And of course we have you and Patrick Harrington going back and forth bitching about Denis Villeneuve. But other than that, I mean, yeah, that's really about it. I say we wrap this shit up and get the fuck out of here. What do you say?
Hell yeah, dude. Give me your closing thoughts on Prisoners.
I really like this movie. It's underrated as fuck. I'm gonna give it like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. It runs a little long. It runs a little long because this is the way true crime happens. This feels like such a, if you'd have told me, hey, this is based on a true story, would totally fucking believe you. After listening to hundreds and thousands of fucking true crime episodes of different podcasts, especially one, something like Case File, it's the little things that fuck people up and give them away. And I think that that's totally true in this. It's the same for Keller. It's the same for God damn it, Alex's aunt Holly. It's the same for Holly. It's the little things in this that lead to, it's like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank. It's that one little chip that led to that whole tunnel. So I think that it portrays like true crime in a real way, even though it's not true crime. It shows you how complicated, how tangled the web that is woven is. No, you can't leave any stone unturned. You have to just keep hitting and dig and dig and dig and dig. But you've got someone like Keller who is not, I mean, he's not a cop. He doesn't have the resources or the knowledge or, the expertise to go out and crack the, crackheads, kind of like how Loki does, because I feel like Loki has been a part of that system as a kid, and he knows people. He knows what it takes to like get into, I think he can tell when someone's full of shit. I think he can tell when someone's lying. And I think that's why he ends up kind of coming back to Keller a lot and, following him and stuff like that. Because his instincts are right. And I think that's something also interesting to take away from it is that both of these guys are right in their own way. I don't ever see Loki as being like wrong in his way at all. I think that Keller's way more in the wrong. I mean, that's like a huge plot point of the entire film. But at the same time, their instincts are 100% correct. And I think that's just inarguable. The instinct of, the instinct of Loki at the end, not to just sit there and knock on the door and be like, oh, hey, we found Alex. And if she doesn't answer, just go away. He's like, no, I'm just going to come in. My instincts tell me just to go in. And I think that's great. Their gut instincts, when they're not blinded by emotion, it's all about balance. It's all about compromise. And I think that's really what this movie is about. It's kind of like, you can be a Sith or you can be a Jedi, or you can just be one of those people that's like right in the middle and just understand that you have to take the good with the bad. And I think that's 100% what this movie is about. Is you could get into symbolism and, Christianity and all that other stuff. And it is super interesting. But beyond all of that, I think those are almost surface level things. Like, what is this movie about? And I think it's about the testing of people's faith in themselves and the systems of belief, whether they be religious or, government institutions. It's a test of one's faith in any of that stuff. And I think that both these guys have their faiths tested to the nth degree. And it's exactly how they, I keep coming back to it like, man, Keller's just so in the wrong. And it's like, he's not. If he doesn't do any of this stuff, Loki doesn't have the opportunity. It's like, to defeat evil, you kind of have to fight fire with fire just a little bit. But if you're using fire in the right way, it kind of helps, the other people out around you. It's really interesting. It's a super interesting conversation about morality and exactly, is black black and is white white, and when can you mix those two together to actually get the gray that you need. But I really like this movie. I'm glad that we've covered it. I think this has been one of the more in-depth, head up our ass conversations we've ever had. And it was a blast too. Not every episode is going to be the fucking Hangover. So it's nice to get into some stuff like this every once in a while.
Hell yeah, man, for sure, dude. I like I said, man, this is something that I've been holding back on. I've been holding back on covering some Denis movies just because he doesn't have many. And when we do cover them, I want to cover them well. So I'm really glad with how this one turned out, man. I love this movie. I think it'll. I give this a 9. And think about what I said earlier. If I give this a 9, and this is my least favorite Denis movie, think about how high I rate the other ones. Just put that out there. So yeah, I do think this is a director that's. I was gonna say this is a director to watch, but honestly, he's already fucking up there, man. Like, he's up there. Like, if people are comparing him to Christopher Nolan, if people are like having this debate, then he is 100% truly up there already. So this is a director that I'm definitely honestly day one ticket purchase to anything that he makes now. Dune, absolutely cannot wait, man. But this movie just reminded me of some like old school kind of like mystery, like a mystery movie, like which doesn't really happen these days, man. Like, we don't get very many murder mystery movies anymore. Like, we get murder movies, we get movies about true crime and shit, but nothing really like this. Nothing that really kind of like that holds back its answers until the final moment. Maybe something like Get Out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like this weird sort of like. But Get Out has comedic moments. This is like straight kind of dark. Like, you know what I mean?
No, for sure. I think that it's something that you have to be patient. You have to be patient to watch something like this, and you have to. I'm not a person that I don't like being on the edge of my seat watching movies like this sometimes. Like, I get very affected by these things, especially when it comes to the abduction of kids and stuff like that. Like, after this movie, I was like, fuck, I just want to go beat the shit out of some child molesters or something. Like, fucking goddamn it. Like it makes you like, god damn it. This is one case. And such just in the infinity of anything and everything and all of the cases that have ever been in child abductions, this is just like a fraction of the stress and the trauma and just the life-shattering events that happen to people. And it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Just fucking goddamn it, dude. You take the entirety of it in, you're like, whew, fuck, that's crazy.
100%, man. It's hefty, it's heavy. This is not a movie that you just slap on a Sunday afternoon and just chill and watch. This is something that needs to be watched in the right frame of mind, dude. So if you're not prepared for it, if you're not prepared for these kinds of themes, then you're gonna have a hard time. So, but yeah, man, this is a fantastic film. Great performances. Honestly, career standout performances from Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, even though they've both done some pretty fucking amazing work in the past, or I guess future in 2013. And even the supporting cast, dude, Viola Davis, Terrence Howard, just outstanding, dude. Even Melissa Leo, like, she's kind of, when she goes nuts, she goes nuts. Like when she pulls the gun, she just flips the switch and she's like, this is the most horrifying old woman I've ever met in my life. So,
yeah.
But yeah, man, amazing film. Really, really glad to have covered it. And I definitely can't wait to cover some more Denis movies, man. I am fucking stoked. So thank you so much for helping me cover this one, dude.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks for picking it,
awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We have been Midnight Double Feature. This has been a feature presentation episode. You can find us on Facebook. We are we have two pages. We have Midnight Double Feature, which is our main page, and that's where we like let you know about our updates and what new episodes are out or what's coming up. And then we also have the After Party, which is our Facebook group, and that's where we communicate with the with the people who listen to us. I think, right? Like, hopefully they listen to us, but you know, that's one can hope. But no, essentially that's where we post all our news and memes, and you know, just kind of talk shit and talk trash and just have a good time. So that's awesome. So go check that out. That's the After Party. And we also have a Instagram profile, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and we're also on Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. So give us a follow on those two. And also, please, if you like what you hear, please give us a rate and review on iTunes. That would definitely help us out very much. And you know, just be honest. You know, don't talk shit. We don't want you to lie to us. Just tell us what we're doing wrong. Tell us what we're doing right, but just tell us. Like, that's the bottom line. Just tell us.
Yeah. Well, and I love, you know, our email, midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. We actually had one of our most loyal listeners, Patrick Harrington, you know, actually reached out after the last episode and sent us a list of things that, you know, he would like us to cover at some point. And that's something we definitely take into consideration. We want the feedback from you guys. We are very open to suggestions, very open to, you know, to picks. We're kind of like a cover band at a bar. We're just like, hey, throw something out. We'll fucking do it. So I'm very open to that. I would love to hear, you know, if not even so much like, oh, I love this movie, I want you to cover it. I'm totally down for that. Even more so like, hey, you guys would be great with this kind of movie. Something you think we would be great at covering. Maybe something we've never even heard of before. I'm definitely down to do that and just jump headfirst into that water.
Hell yeah. Just don't send me shit movies, please.
Yeah.
Like, if you get me to cover fucking Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill, you're banished. So
Yeah. We've already had to start banishing people. So
exactly. Holy shit! Yeah, we did. I'm not going to mention that, but you know what? This is all I'm saying. If you spoil Avengers Endgame on our fucking group, you're out. See you later. You're out.
Yeah, I will dig a hole in my backyard and pump you full of LSD and leave you there.
Oh boy! All right, Colin. Without any further ado, you want to head out of here?
Let's do it.
Fucking awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time.